Ducks. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically, the average Ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. There goes Salty Bonkos to the inside, bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Bonkos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Virtual Auto Sports here live on Twitch TV as we get ready to rock and roll toward the start of season number 34 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. I'm Dustin Moore, glad to be on the mic as always here in not only at Virtual Auto Sports, but all of the seasons of the Forza Spec Racing Series, the official broadcast partner. Yeah, we're the ones bringing you the coverage from green flag to checker from week number 1 on through week number 5, that grand finale 5 weeks from today happening here in season number 34 with the 1956 Ford F100. But before we get to the next season, or the season that is happening starting tonight, let's take a little quick look back at season number 33's points totals, with AMS Uticon coming away as the season 33 champion, and also finished, as you can see there with the footnote at the bottom of the screen, a perfect championship points total. 400 is the max that you can get in the championship points tally. Now, there was a fifth week's worth of points that AMS Uticon fell just short of coming away in the top spot in that one as well, and would have had a clean sweep of the season had it not been for a little bit of an error out at the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife of the Green Hell, where he gave up the win on that one, came in second, and therefore was just 3 points off, I believe, is the delta there from first to second, and just that many points away from then having a clean sweep in season number 33. Carbon TI finished there in second, although I don't believe Carbon TI to be participating here in season number 34. As a matter of fact, we've got a lot of new names to the series, and we'll talk about those names here in just a bit. DOR Corvid there in third at 345 points. That's where he finished out. Cratrium at 340. 345 for Corvid, 340 for Cratrium, 310 for DTR Maverick, Audrex, IPR Wolf, Fear the Fun are your top 8. Then it's Slipstream on down to Hoot Wheels for your 9th through 16th positions, and then 17th through 24th is occupied by Mega Chin, Modern Drive, Kuda, Darkser, Magnolia, Grim, Phantom, and Joe Beardy. And some of those drivers obviously not getting a full 4 weeks worth of points to their name. That's why they're down the big bit of separation that you have between first and 24th in terms of the points. If you participate all the way through, at the bare minimum, 4 seasons worth or 4 weeks worth of racing, then you're good. If you're just shy of 4 weeks worth of participation, or perhaps your 5th week isn't the best, then that's where they drop your points, and therefore it doesn't show up toward your total here on the championship leaderboard. So taking your top 4 weeks out of 5, and that's what you get. And if you have the most championship points when the season is all said and done, you not only get the bragging rights of being a Forza Spec Racing Series champion, but you also get to pick the vehicle for the next season number 35 in this case. If you're considering participating in the Forza Spec Racing Series and you're just wanting to kind of see how everything runs here tonight before pulling the trigger, then head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. That's the link that Nightbot has just provided you there in the chat. and that's where you'll find all the information on how to set the vehicle up, what tracks will be raced here in season number 34, how who all is participating. There's a list of all the registered participants, all that information, everything you need to know over there at reddit.com/r/FM4. Get involved, get signed up, because even though they had more than 23 drivers, which that's all the grid spots that they have available for any one race is 23. Despite that, every once in a while we get a driver who can't show, and then they need or want somebody to fill that void. Having a full lobby is great. It's awesome. It's awesome for the drivers because they're in the biggest grouping of cars possible here in Forza Motorsport 7, but then also for us as the viewers, as we want all the action, all the fun that we could possibly get out of these races. I did mention that the Forza Spec Racing Series comes with the accolades of being the champion and then getting to pick the car for Season 35 if you happen to have the most championship points when it's all done. What's really cool about that is the Forza Spec Racing Series is one of the longest-running community-based leagues here in the Forza community, and so to be able to come away with a championship in this series is actually quite remarkable, especially when you consider some of the names that you see on the screen right there. Udacan, Carbon, Corvid, Cratrium, Maverick, Audrex, Wolf, Fear the Fun. You don't even have to look past the top 8, but then if you do, you see some other names there that you're like, okay, these drivers, they got skill. Great, diverse skill set and ability across the grid. So even if you're not the fastest driver, they welcome you. All you got to do is sign up and then participate and race clean, and they'll welcome you back week after week. All right, tired of reminiscing about Season 33? Great, I am as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got ahead of us here in season number 34. And it starts with having a crack at the schedule. If I can get the schedule up. There it is. That's today, May 26th. Daytona Short Track, 15 laps. That's the short sport car circuit. So it's still the infield bits. It's not the tri-oval, but it's the infield bits at a shorter length with the bus stop on the back stretch at Daytona. So that's going to kick things off tonight, and then we go from coast to coast over to Long Beach, California, for the full circuit there at Long Beach for 19 laps. And by the way, you see the moon next to the Daytona Short text to indicate that it will be at night. Now, there are two different variations of night in the Daytona environment here in Forza Motorsport 7. You'll have either pitch dark, or we may have kind of a sunset-y type skybox, which looks really cool. So we'll see which one of those two that we get. Then heading into week number 2, it's Maple Valley, the full circuit for 17 laps, and a matched number of laps out at Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit. Then in week number 3, that's June 9th, Spa Francorchamps is 10 laps. And you put that against the 21 laps there of Sonoma for race number 6. Race 7 and 8 there in week number 4 on June 16th includes Watkins Glen, the full track, which I'm really happy to see the full track. I know a lot of leagues, they tend to go for the shorter version, the shorter variant of Watkins Glen. So happy to see that they're going to have the boot and everything, the heel, the toe, the whole kit and caboodle. 14 laps there. Then Homestead, the Speedway, an oval race here in these 1956 Ford F100s for 44 laps. And then it's all capped off in week number 5 with one race number 9, out at Hockenheim Ring, the short track. So you won't take the long part around. You'll actually cut through the infield, come back out near the Mercedes Arena, and that'll be a nice long 60-lapper, which usually necessitates at least one pit stop. I'd be curious if these 1956 F-150s or F-100s won't require possibly a second stop in that race. All right, so there is a look at the schedule. Now, there are some other important things that you obviously want to be aware of, and that's what vehicle they're going to be racing here in season number 34. We've already mentioned it, the F100, the Ford F100 from 1956. But here are a look at the specifications, at least the high-level overview. A D400 Performance Index vehicle, that's what they've upgraded it to via the 6.2-liter V8 engine. So they've added a few horses under the hood to come up to 415 horsepower. and there's actually no other engine performance upgrade. So it's just the 6.2 that is making it all the way up there to 415. Then 415 foot-pounds of equal torque, torque equivalent to the horsepower, and then you see the vehicle weight, pounds of weight, curb weight, 3,046. And with that, let's go ahead and turn it on over to our driver's spotlight, where we've got Grim hanging out there waiting to have a chat with us. Grim, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. You're getting ready to head out to the track. I know some practices has already been underway here this evening. There was some off-season preparation that drivers could participate in. How much have you put in behind the tuning and adjustment of this vehicle here for season 34, or are you showing up getting familiar here on the spot tonight?
I've put in a little bit of time. There's a tune that Slip kind of made about a month ago that I've been running as a base, and I've been trying to adjust per track from there. Unfortunately, didn't get a whole lot of adjustment time this week, so Long Beach is going to be interesting, and Daytona is going to be a little interesting.
Yeah, like I said, going coast to coast from Daytona out to Long Beach. Good pair of tracks to really test what this 1956 Ford F100 is going to do. You know what races are happening here tonight, but having just had a look at our full calendar, all 9 races here in season 34, which track at least is the most intriguing for you, knowing the vehicle?
The most intriguing is honestly probably, is it Hockenheimring?
Yeah.
Is that our last one?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. This truck, I can't seem to get it to turn as well as some of the other people. We were doing our practice run over at Long Beach earlier, and I saw Corvid just make that perfect turn in that very last hairpin. And I asked him how he did that. It's like, I just moved my thumbstick right. I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah, the humble answer from the drivers who are really quick when everybody goes, "How did you do that so quickly?" And the drivers are just like, "Yeah, I just did." Talking with Grim here in the driver's spotlight before we get things kicked off, season 34 in the Forza Spec Racing Series here at the top of the hour. One other thing I actually didn't mention in our review of the schedule was that we've got a couple of races there which are going to have precipitation. You've got one next week out at Brands Hatch, the GP track, and then follow that up with Spa. We know we only have the full racetrack variant or option there in Forza Motorsport 7, that too also being in rain. So you get a reprieve here tonight with 2 drive tracks, but then on comes the rain the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think the rain is fitting because this truck drives like a boat, so you might as well actually drive it like a boat.
Might as well. Yeah.
I'm really excited for Brands Hatch. That's honestly one of my favorite tracks, that layout too. I remember back in FM6 driving the Wraith around that to do that Rivals event, and I just got really familiar in driving really boaty vehicles across that track, so that'll be really fun. Spa, A
lot of people would not think twice or shrug off Spa, but now that you're in a 56 pickup truck, not the fastest of the bunch here in terms of the performance index score, it's one of those instances where Spa is kind of looked at like, yeah, like you're saying, whatever.
Dustin, honestly, the one thing I'm looking forward to when it comes to Spa, I have that driver gear called Spa, or Spa Day, where it has like cucumbers on the visor.
Nice.
And you're wearing a robe.
Nice.
I'm gonna wear that there just for
we'll
the
be
joke,
on the lookout for it. Yeah, and folks who aren't aware, you could put different Drivatar suits on, racing suits, and one of them is a Spa where it looks like you're in a Spa coat and with cucumbers over the ice. All right, last question here for you, Graham, before I know you got to get back over to the lobby so that you could do your qualifying session. Last season, season 33, you were unable to put in a lot of time in that season, so are things looking a little bit more promising here in season 34? And if so, where do you want to see yourself on the leaderboard after 5 weeks worth of racing?
I think things are looking better. I don't know if it's been mentioned, I did end up driving Hyperdrive along with Born and Slip, and we've been sharing tips and tunes and stuff back and forth with each other, and it's helped me a lot just with the short time I've been with the team. Um, I just want to get back into it. It's really just getting back into the mindset of like, all right, I have to buckle down, make myself practice even more, because now I have a team behind me, so I'm not trying to make myself look like a fool. I think I'd like to be in like the 15 range,
Okay.
like
That's
15,
respectable.
16.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, almost a little bit more than halfway, depending on what side of 15 you are. If you're a little bit lower than 15, then obviously you are more than half the field of our 24-car leaderboard that we put together. Of course, 23 drivers out on the track, or at least that's how many spots are available. We got 22 out there. Grim, always great chatting with you. Best of luck during qualifying here at Daytona.
Hey, thank you.
All right, so we'll throw Grim back into the lobby. That way he can get things all ready to go before they go live here for 3 laps of qualifying. The qualifying session first and foremost. And as I mentioned, we do have the 24 grid spots. I occupy 1. That leaves 23 in total available. And as of right now, we are just 1 driver shy of a full grid. So hopefully either somebody will jump in here at the last second, or they'll come in during or slightly thereafter qualifying, and they'll go ahead and pick them up and get them out on the track, putting them at the back of the grid without any qualifying time. So we're seeing there from Slow Motion Fire that indeed he's going to get the qualifying lobby locked and loaded. And so, yes, if anybody does join in at this point, any of the drivers who are currently registered here for Season 34, then they'll just get plugged in at the back of the pack for the start of the race. That first race happening out here at the Daytona Sport Car Circuit, the short version of the Sport Car Circuit. And off the line first is going to be Modern Weapon, who was not entirely sure if he was going to make it on time, and now saying that there's some weather in the area, so he's having to contend with that. Hopefully everything holds up, and Modern Weapon will be able to stick it out all the way through the race. We actually, here in South Central Texas, have had a couple of nights worth of very interesting weather ourselves. Fortunately here for us, we've got a break, and it's a nice, lovely evening here, and that means hopefully no connection issues on my end. Here comes Fear the Fun now out of the international corner. He's got one of the newer names, Tam Ocello, out here joining the Forza Spec Racing Series. And here's how you'll know which drivers are fairly new, is that you can see there on the front end of the tailgate, well, not the tailgate, but the truck bed of Fear the Fun's vehicle, you see that there's a number board there. Fear the Fun sporting a green number board, which indicates that he's a Forza Spec Racing Series pro. He's been here for at least 1 season. He's actually been here for many, many seasons. And so if there was a tertiary number board, he would probably have that. But there's just the 2, the pro and then the quote-unquote amateur. Now, much like a lot of community leagues, it doesn't mean that you're actually an amateur by any stretch of the imagination in the world of Forza, but what it means here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is that you have not yet completed a season with them, and therefore they give you the orange number board. And we're going to go ahead and flip the not the telemetry, but I did flip the telemetry on. Hold on. That's not what I wanted. There we go. The racing stats there in the bottom left-hand corner. So as our drivers come across the line and set their best lap, we'll see who has the best lap, and then in-game it'll start ordering them in terms of their qualifying time. And I'm having all kinds of issues here with the ticker. Standby. There it is. And there we go. Okay. Whew. A little rusty. Couple of weeks off from the Forza Spec Racing Series, and I can't find my way through the menus. We've got it now. Right now it's IPR Wolf with a 158.623. Corbin's got, now Corbin has the top time, and that's because it is a clean lap to Wolf's dirty lap. Now AMS Udakan coming through with a 156 flat. Let's go to, let's see, the timing's all messed up here on my UI, and now there we go. There's a look at AMS Udakan's car, which is quite plain. He's going for just the black paint job, number 99 there on the number board, trying to go back-to-back here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. If he can do it here in Season 34 after coming out of Season 33 with a win, he'll be a back-to-back, one of Only a handful who have done that through 34 seasons in this league. There's not too many who could say that they've gone back-to-back. I think Craytrim is the one who holds the titles for the most back-to-back wins, or at the very least, the most wins overall. Nice Orion there in the pit lane saying, hi, guys, and Nice Orion, I'm going to go ahead and give you your due little alert there at the bottom of the screen if I can get it to trigger. Let's try it now. Streamlabs is not working with me here tonight. Oh, there it goes. Nice Orion 17. Thank you very much. Or 12. Nice Orion 12. Thank you very much for the follow and saying hello there in the pit lane. Fear the Fun with a 155.458. Look at Fear the Fun go. Let's go to Slipstream here, who currently has the 6th quickest time out on the track. And SGR Chaos Fox with the host. Thank you, Chaos Fox, for that host. Rodrigo with the start GT3 races comment there. We don't have any GT3 racing per se here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. They pick one car out of the Forza Motorsport 7 inventory, all 700 plus cars to choose from, and that's what they run. So not any class specific racing here in FM4, but who knows, maybe one day they will have a GT3 car that they will run. If you can read this, bump draft me, says Slipstream's tailgate. It's a pretty popular sticker. I think that that's shown up across a multitude of bumpers in the annals of automotive history, whether it be in the virtual world or in the real world. Look at this clumping of cars that we have here. This is where it can get tricky because you've got a lot of these ghosted vehicles, and like what you're seeing there with Beer 98G out in front of Chaos Fox, you can't see they go ghosted. The opponents go ghosted here in qualifying, but they're not completely opaque, or transparent, or see-through. So as you're going into a corner, you can definitely get tripped up by the fact that you've got one of those ghosted vehicles out in front of you, and it can slow you down a little bit, especially for us non-alien drivers. And oh, here comes Udakan now, saying, Fear the Fun, I see your 155, and I'll raise you a 153.510. So Udakan raising the stakes and showing off here before the start of Season 34. This just being the qualifying for race number 1. Again, trying to go back-to-back. Season 33, then 34. Here comes SVR Martin across the line in that baby blue Michelin-sponsored F100. Cronavera saying, Nyum. Definitely. Big-time Newman out there is Udakan, and we'll see in our post-race results if there was anybody close to that. We saw Fear the Fun at a 155, but I believe that was after just his second qualifying time. So he may have been able to throw down a quicker 155, maybe a sub-155, maybe a sub-154. We'll have to see. I know they're scrolling across the top, but those are just total lap time or total race time versus actual fast laps. What's up there, STR Shrek? He's got the emote, the Shadow 288 win emote. Went ahead and plucked that one out of the subscription territory thanks to some pit points, I'm guessing. Udakan saying the top 4 are split by 3/10. Oh my gosh. And it looks like we're just waiting for maybe one car to finish. And then we'll head back to the lobby and we'll take a look at all the drivers in the lobby, because maybe more new names than we've ever seen in a season debut. We entered this lobby, and I thought I was in the wrong lobby for a second, just because there were fewer recognizable names. And there we go, out of the lobby. Let's go take a look at those results, and don't mind the position here off to the left. That's just calculating their total time out there on the track. Fear the fun with a 154.721. Carry out with the host. Thank you very much, Carry Out. Thank you. And you guys, I want to talk about a raffle that's happening here, and we'll get to that just as soon as I run through the times. I'll cover a few of these here, and then you can read the rest. But 154.768 there for Wolf. Joe Beardy at a 157.018. You see a 156 by Slow, 155 by Hocus. Almost 2 minutes flat there for Corvid. Or excuse me, for Tamocello. Corvid at a 153.770. Nowhere near 2 minutes was Corvid. Should just clarify. Bornas goes 156, and then you see the times there for Cray Trim at a 153.777. Udakan with that 153.471. New name there with Enraged Barney. That's a new one. That's a fun one at that. Modern Weapon, Muertismo. Muertismo there with a 155.715. SVR Martin. Drex, Chaos Fox there with a couple of 155s and that 153 by Martin. Slipstream with a 154, and I think that's the only 154. Nope, IPR Wolf had one, and so did Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun did get a sub 155. 201 for Gumby Greg, Grim, Jason, and Beer at 158s, and a pair of 159s there, respectively. Fox, Jason D, Beer 98G, Gumby Greg, Muertismo, Enraged Barney, Tom Ocello. These all new names here, season number 34. Carry Out with the subscription has resubscribed using Twitch Prime for 4 months. Thank you so much there, Carry Out, for that support. And all of those contributions to the channel go directly back to supporting the broadcast, not only the quality of the broadcast, but then also the things that I can do to incentivize you all to keep coming back for more. And that's one thing I want to talk about here before we go racing, is that we have a pit point raffle, and it starts tonight. Entry period starts tonight and ends at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, June 28th. So you've got more than a month here to rack up some pit points. You're not familiar what pit points are? Well, pit points are Twitch's channel points, and I have no control over how many you can earn. Twitch has already set that themselves, and you can earn those by watching the channel, and the more you watch, and not just the number of days you watch, but the amount of hours, the amount of time that you're actually here during the broadcast, you earn pit points. And every 1,000 pit points that you redeem, and you can click that little wrench button there in the bottom of the chat, every 1,000 that you redeem there count toward an entry for our pit points raffle that, again, concludes on Sunday, June 28th. What is the prize? Well, if you remember, back 2 Sundays ago, I was trying to give away some Steam Digital gift cards for those who referred a friend to participate. We had no eligible entries for that, and so I went ahead and decided to more than double the amount of money that throwing into that pot to 100 total as far as a Steam Digital gift card, and giving away just one lucky winner, one randomly selected winner from all those entries that you redeem will receive the $100 Steam Digital gift card, and that's only made possible through the donations and the contributions that I receive, much like what Carry Out did there with Twitch Prime. Carry Out doesn't pay for well, he pays for Amazon Prime, which gets him the Twitch Prime token, so it's not entirely free, but basically was able to click that subscription bonus without any additional monetary contribution. But certainly, if you do the Twitch Prime, if you do a monetary subscription, if you do a bits donation of any type, all that goes back directly to the broadcast in the form of production quality, but then also for these giveaways, these raffles that I host. And so get your Pit Pass points redeemed and continue to watch between now and June 28th so that you can keep racking them up, and the more points you get, the more of those entries that you can redeem, as you see Carry Out doing. It's, 6 redemptions there by Carry Out, and I think I saw one earlier. So yeah, just a great way for me to be able to give back, award, and incentivize you at the same time for watching the Virtual Auto Sports broadcast. Crimson redeeming one. There's Corona Vera. Yeah, you guys got it figured out. Axel's dad, thank you very much for the follow. And Stephanie Smith Creative, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you as we get ready to go racing here. The Forza Spec Racing Series season number 34 opener in the 1956 Ford F100. Race number 1 is here at Daytona, the Sport Car Short Circuit. The shorter circuit. So not the full Sport Car Circuit. It does still include the bus stop there on the back straightaway. Carryout is going ham. Yeah, $100 Steam digital gift card. And if you need more information, I forgot to do this. If you need more info, then there's a link to Discord that has all the details spelled out. And of course, I'll say it once, but I won't repeat myself over and over again here tonight, because that's not what I'm about. I'm about bringing you guys the action, the fun, the color commentary here during the race. But yes, anything that you can do to support the channel through a Twitch Prime sub, a monetary sub, or bits, they go back to things like that. The more of that we have, the more of these wonderful little raffles that we can do, and to a greater degree too, so that more people are able to win. Nate Dogg Studios. Oh, I love saying that name. Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg Studios with the follow. Thank you very much. Enraged Barney with the follow. Thank you, thank you. We are just one driver short. Just one driver short of a full lobby. And it looks like they're waiting for AMS Udakan to ready up, and he might just be, well, he just readied up. I thought maybe he was hanging tight to see if they were going to get another driver into the lobby, but that was not the case, or at least not now. And there's the countdown, so not going to happen. We're going to go racing. Martismo answering the call there with the Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you so much. If you don't yet have your Twitch Prime and your Amazon Prime, or I should say your Amazon Prime account linked to Twitch, then go ahead and do that, because then you're missing out. You could have yourself a, I say free Twitch Prime subscription that you could use at this channel or any other channel that you frequent, essentially for free. You're still paying for Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime, which gets you that Twitch Prime sub, but at no extra expense. All right, here we go. Getting the lobby loaded up. 22 drivers on the grid. All the redemptions coming through the chat. This is the most active we've had chat in a while. It's come by way of the redemptions there in the lobby. All right, here we go. And as is the case here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, our pole sitter, AMS Udakan, will dictate the start of this race. As soon as he moves, everybody else is free to go. Let's see how they get on here on this sloped start. And you can see already in the background some cars getting underway prematurely. Now AMS Udakan going to lead them into turn number 1. Hit that blue Michelin F100 back behind him. Actually, that's Martin's car. Udakan's is just plain black up there, except for the number board there on the truck bed. Corbin in second, Martin third, Cratrim in fourth, Slipstream in fifth, Fear the Fun is sixth, Hocus in seventh, Chaos Fox, Audrex, and IPR Wolf. That rounds out your top 10. Now out of the international corner here, what is turn, I think is 4. Turn number 4. And now all, and I say all loosely, but what is it? 415, 421 horsepower? 245. No. I had it in front of me, and then I lost my notes. I shuffled things around, and then my notes went flying. I'll get the right horsepower total here in just a second. There goes Corbin with Martin hot on his heels there. SVR versus SGR. Those teams very familiar with one another. And the number I'm looking for is 415. I was right the first time, and then I second-guessed myself. Back out on the rear straightaway they go, and they will take the bus stop here. So, although they did not during qualifying, know that they are here during the race, and they haven't yet punted the cones out of the way, so some of the drivers are going to have to go ahead and take care of that dirty work. Martin got up onto the curbing so as to avoid them altogether. Let's go back to 7th place with Enraged Barney, who is racing with the Forza Spec Racing crew for the first time. There's Cratrim on the high side, currently showing as 7th as the ticker has them bouncing back and forth as one truck nose gets out in front of the other. And toward the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 2 of 15. That 16th lap that you see there in the upper left, that is just a cool-down lap. And there they go across the line. Enraged Barney dropping back to 8th, allowing Cratrim to move up a spot. Let's go to Fear the Fun now, who is in 5th position, entering and exiting now. Turn number 1 through the chicane with Slipstream. Slipstream there on the low side. He's going to drive over the curbing. Now Fear the Fun's going to take a look here on the outside, heading into the international corner. Side by side. Get those smoothies up onto each other, those 245 4019s. That's what they've got with the vehicle. They're sporting just street tires. They don't have any sport or race tires wrapped around those wheels. Just the bone stock street tires. Fear the Fun continuing to challenge Slipstream. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Fear the Fun. Get a look for how it handles this 1956 F100, and there it goes off into the grass. He's going to mow the lawn. Go ahead and give him a John Deere livery as opposed to the one that he's got on there now. And here they come up to the bus stop. No tire wall there to remind you, so you got to be very clear in understanding that this is the appropriate route during the race. During qualifying, they didn't take the bus stop. That was so that they could have clean lap times to decide who was going to start where on the grid. But now in the race, they do have to jut in. Fear the Fun perhaps on the early part of the bus stop, leaning a little bit too far into the corner, but then looking pretty clean through the next couple of apexes there. Back toward the start-finish line, beginning of lap number 3. In front, it's AMS Uticon. Then it's Corbin and Martin battling it out there for second position. Let's go to Martin as he and Corbin are side by side, entering turn number 1. And Uticon not too far ahead. He has jumped out there quite quickly, and he did have the benefit of being the pole sitter, deciding when the race was going to start. Martin going to take the outside line, then loop it back in here. And he does so quite nicely. He just doesn't get a run on Corvid. Corvid, who participated in the first ever Forza Friday Night Fights here on Virtual Autosport. And we have another one coming at you here in about, well, actually, to the day, a month's time. June 28th will be our next, or excuse me, June 26th will be our next Forza Friday Night Fights, and we're getting close to having it all booked. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get closer to that event, but do know that there is a second Friday Night Fights on the horizon now. Uticon starting to get out even further. Let's see what Martin does as he takes a run here at Corvid. They're using that infield as much as possible before having to line it up here into the bus stop. You got a lot of curbing to work with. And Martin's going to exit cleanly. Let's jump back to Fear the Fun, who we saw was there in 5th, and he remains in 5th position behind Slipstream. Still unable to get around. A little bit of dent and scrapes there on the left front fender. You've got front and rear aero. Oh no, black screen. Who did we lose? I'm hoping nobody. I'm hoping it was just a black screen for the sake of it. It appears that is the case. So we may have lucked out there. Running through the field, your leader here out at the Daytona Sport Car Short Circuit is AMS Uticon. Corvin in 2nd, Martin 3rd, Slipstream is 4th, Fear the Fun in 5th, Cratrium, Hocus, Enraged Barney, Joe Beardy, Slow Motion Fire, Those are your top 10. Then it's IPR Wolf, Audrex, Chaos Fox, Muertismo, Grim, Born as Ghost, Jason D, Beer 98, Modern Weapon, Gumby Greg, and Tam Ocello. And so we actually did lose a driver. We had 22 to start. One is out. Back to Martin in third. And as the ticker goes by here, we're going to see who that 22nd driver... Well, maybe they just didn't even load in. I'm not even seeing a DNF driver on the ticker. Stretch here at Daytona. And into the bus stop. Martin still there in second position. Let's go to Corvid here, and let's hop on board with Corvid just to kind of get a feel for the distance between he and AMS Uticon. That looks about a second and a half worth of separation as they come out of turn number 3 and then 4. And if you're any one of these 20... Whoa. That seemed to be a little bit of a lag spike there, and... Interesting. Well, Corbett is going to... He's either going to reclaim second, or... I'm not sure how that works, because it looked like he just had a lag there for a second, but then... Martin definitely came into view, and he's still there as they come out of International. So that was iffy, and fortunately it didn't cause any problems out there on the track. Let's go to 6th with Cratrim. Cratrim in 6th, challenging now Fear the Fun, who's riding up there in 5th. Fear the Fun on the heels of Slipstream still. These D400 Ford F100s, It takes a lot to get them up and moving. Even though it is 415 horsepower, the 6.2-liter V8, there's not a great deal of acceleration to them. And it's just the street transmission, so you can't even do anything here to the transmission, which makes it doubly hard to set it up so that you can make a pass. If you're a good tuner, you can oftentimes set the transmissions up from track to track, knowing how to take advantage of longer straightaways, and maybe if the other driver isn't as good at tuning, you can take advantage of that, but not even possible here in Season 34. There goes Cratrim and Slipstream, it looks like. They're in 4th position. Fear the Fun, we didn't even see him in picture, so I don't know if he went a little bit wide coming through the bus stop, or if perhaps the camera is just too far zoomed in that it didn't even render his vehicle in view. Here comes Cratrim now as he makes that pass around Slipstream. So Fear the Fun and Cratrim make the move on Slip, who drops back now 2 spots to 6th position. DOR Hocus is going to lead a crew of cars from 7th on back to 12th. Out of turn number 4, back to the line. We'll see if Hocus is going to be able to make a charge for the top 5. Let's go to 3rd position now. Once again, who is Martin at the moment. Martin and Corvid, 3rd and 2nd respectively, with Uticon out there in front in 1st, and that gap seems to have closed a little bit, maybe about 3 or 4 car lengths of separation from Uticon there to Corvid. And a very flat infield here at Daytona, not any undulation whatsoever, and then the only other undulation that you'll face out here is once you get into turn number 3 and 4, and then down the front straightaway, across the line, and dropping it back into the infield for turn number 1. And it looks like we've got a car into pit lane, which you never want to do here on one of these first 8 races of the season, because they are so short that you can get by with 1 tank of fuel and 1 set of tires. No need to go into pit stop or into pit lane unless you have damage to your vehicle incurred by a wall or a collision with another driver. So That'll be a tough go for, I believe that was maybe, was that Ocello? No, actually it looked like it was Modern Weapon who was in. There goes Chaos Fox. And Chaos Fox not having a great run here in race number 1, running wide out through the grass, also looking to pick up one of those John Deere liveries. And our battle for the lead is actually starting to develop here with Corvin and Martin closing in on Udakan. Let's go to Martin, and let's look at it from his view as Martin's going to take a run at Corvin here on the high line across the start-finish line, beginning of lap number 7 of 15. Into turn number 1 they'll go. They'll have to throw on the brakes here. You see the brake lights light up of Udakan, and Martin's going to run it wide, then rope it back into the apex here at 1. Now into 2 and 3. Into that international corner, and we did get more of the sunset skybox than the pitch dark, getting a little extra visibility out here on the track, although with all the overhead lighting that you see spread throughout the track, lighting is not usually an issue out here. Ample amounts of it. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me here on a Tuesday evening, or quite possibly an early Wednesday morning for you, heading into the hump day of the week. I'm Dustin Moore on the mic here with another season 34 in the Forza Spec Racing Series 1956 Ford F100. So far, so good. Nothing super crazy. Racing seems relatively clean up to this point. If you have thoughts on these F100s, throw it into the chat. I like to be very engaging with the viewers, so if you're hanging out with us maybe for the first time, or you're a repeat offender, you're a frequent visitor of the channel, then a nice little hello there in the chat would be greatly appreciated. Maybe you want to tell me where you hail from, where you're watching us from. You don't have to be specific. If it's just a state or a country, that's fine. We don't need your coordinates. Fear the Fauna in 5th. Let's go to Slipstream in 6th, who got passed by Fear the Fauna, and there's Modern Weapon on the low line. Modern Weapon is just not having a good time at all. He came out of pit lane and now is just riding the low line through 3 and 4. Out onto the front straightaway here. The separation from 4th, 5th, on back to 6th continues to increase. Cratrium, though, has started to peel away from Fear the Fun. Cratrium's on a mission to see if he can't grab himself a podium spot. Let's go back to Martin in 3rd. Love the look of these trucks, these old 56 pickup trucks, and you probably would not normally look at these vehicles and say, oh yeah, that's racing material, but it's amazing that here in the world of Forza Motorsport, they give us 700 plus cars to play with. And once they do that, essentially anything becomes raceable. And that's exactly what we've got going on. AMS Udakan, who won season number 33, picked the F100. And just like this, halfway through the race, Corvin and Martin are knocking on the back door of AMS Udakan, who's trying to go back-to-back season 33, season 34 champion if he can do it. He picked this truck. So if anybody has a reason to win this series, it's him. He picked it, so he should have gotten acquainted to it nicely. Of course, we know some of the drivers who win the championship here in FM4 are happy to oblige and allow somebody else to take the crown, but as competitive as Udakan is, I wouldn't think he's that type of fella. I think he's definitely trying to go back to back, if not, well, and then maybe even then some to try to sweep season number 34 in all 9 races. He came very, very close. He just lost the top spot in one race. He came in second out there at the Nordschleife in season 33 with the Pontiac Solstice GXP. And just like that, Corvin makes a beautiful move coming out of turn number 1, darts out in front of Udakan, and now Corvin is going to have to play some great defense. This is Corvin, by the way, who, like I mentioned, a couple of weeks, actually not too long ago, was racing in our Forza Friday Night Fights. That was just last Friday. I don't know why I feel like it was forever ago. It was just last Friday. Fell short of beating Salty Boncos in that one, but then participated in Tora's Indy 500 and came away in second with his teammate who finished out in front. I think. Either that or it was flip-flop. Maybe Corvid finished first and a teammate in second. But Corvid is just definitely putting together a strong showing in the Forza community. And that's what it takes oftentimes to get recognized by some of these teams. Corvid, though, has been a part of a number of teams, and so being a part of a team has not been an issue for him. But if you're serious about competitive esport racing and you want to get picked up by a team and you quite possibly want to have a chance to go into some pro races where there's money on the line, such as the Forza Racing Championship, well, you got to put in the time, and Corvid is doing exactly that. Let's go back to our virtual Autosport instant replay there, and unfortunately I clipped it just a little bit too late there to see Corvid's move on Udukan coming out of turn number 1, but now Udukan has moved back up into the top spot, but Corvid has not fallen back too far. He's actually right there on the back bumper looking for that bump draft, and in third is Martin. Martin has dropped back a little bit, but that could work to the advantage of Martin. If the Corvid and Udukan get tangled up here, then Martin's going to have a free ride for first. Now here comes Corvid trying to make a move similar to that of the last lap through, and right now he's going to have first until they head into the international corner here, and AMS Storm, who called dibs, so to speak, on that inside line, is going to use it and now propel himself out of that international corner, side by side, down the infield straightaway, and Udukan will have the advantage going into the next right-hander, and with that, he'll go ahead. You see the sparks there. He threw that tailgate out in front of Corvid, allowing him not only to get the inside line, the apex run through the right-hander, but then the left-hander. And now they'll go through a couple of more turns here in the infield before back out onto the rear stretch for lap number 10 of 15. Mateo Max saying super serious. Yeah, it's legit. Ghibli Jib saying, I'm here in my garage with a brand new Lamborghini, but you know what I like more than my Lamborghini? This stream. I like it. AMS Udukan wagging the tail out on the Ford F100 just a little bit. 415 horsepower. Sends it sliding, coming out on the back straightaway. Now here comes Corvid. He's going to line himself for the low line here through the bus stop, and perhaps a little bit too far to the inside. He did have two wheels on the curbing, so he might be legal there. And with that, Corvid through the bus stop is going to take the top spot. But it may not last for long. Udukan is right there, and wouldn't you know, Martin is joining this duo and is going to make it a three-way battle for first. Here comes Udukan now looking to the high line, heading back toward the start-finish line, and Martin on the inside. He's actually going to make a move, and they're going to be side by side by side, three wide, down the front straightaway, almost. It was just momentarily there, but Corvid has gone ahead and moved back up to the front. Now into turn number 1. They're very close to one another, so they've got to have a lot of trust, a little bit of choreography here. And just like that, Martin drops back to third, Corvid into second, and AMS Udukan in first. Well done. Well played. And yes, welcome, Mateo Max. Good to see you again. And King Dragon with the follow. Thank you very much, King Dragon. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the fun. Down that infield straightaway again. It's the only infield straightaway, and it's quite short. Corvid putting them headlamps right in the rear view mirror of AMS Udukan. He's not letting AMS Udukan out of this one easily. Not by a long shot. And look at this. Right up there, you can kind of hear the contact being made. And I know there are other cars out on the track, but really, our battle here for the top 3, well, the battle really is for P1 amongst our 3 podium drivers. So we're going to continue to stick with this action. And let's actually drop back to Martin and because our camera views here on the back part of the sport car circuit at Daytona they're not the greatest. Let's go ahead and get on board, and we'll see what Martin's seeing. There goes Udakan off into the grass, and once again kicks the back end of the F100 out. Around 3, up to 4. We'll go back to our virtual Autosport rewind to capture some of the fun down the front straightaway the last time by the not the checkered flag stand, but the flag stand. As all 3 cars, or trucks I should say, went into turn number 1 together, and you can see there in the background, not too far ahead, a few of the back markers. And here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, they're looking for an authentic race day experience, so you will not find the back markers ghosted in this series. And that's going to be Gumby Greg there in 20th position. He'll go ahead and take the high line here through International, allowing Udakan, Corvin, and Martin to get through. Next one will be Tam Ocello. I keep wanting to say Tom Ocello. It's definitely Tam. A few bumps there as you apply the braking into that right-hander. That could negate some of the effect of the braking. And there comes Tam, getting a little bit squiggly through the grass, coming back out onto the racing surface, almost getting caught up into their passenger door side panel, or the passenger door of Corvin. Corbin able to scoot on past, no incident, and they'll continue on here on lap number 12 through the squiggly bit. You got to look out for that concrete wall. That one is not movable. You run into that thing, and you'll definitely be in the pit lane. That might have been what happened to Modern Weapon a few laps back when we saw him exiting pit lane. Now back onto that rear straightaway. Into the bus stop. And Corbin has a good line here on Udakan, who he hasn't looked quite composed. Not yet through that bus stop, or he might have been a little bit earlier when he was kind of riding solo. But since Corbin and Martin came into the picture, each run has looked a little bit sloppy there by Udakan. And now out of 4 up toward the start-finish line. They're going to be side by side. Who's going to grab the lead here for the beginning of lap 13? Who said these old trucks can't race? They most certainly can. And the ladies and gentlemen of the Forza Spec Racing Series doing a great job. Here comes Martin to the inside, taking advantage of the fact that Corvid and Udakan ran it wide there through turn number 1. Now through the chicanes, Martin in second with that light blue, that baby blue, that North Carolina blue Michelin truck. And now he's going to get a little bump there from Corvid. That's going to send the back end of his F100 sliding just so slightly. Not a lot, just a little bit. And down that infield straightaway, here comes Udakan, and let's see if Corvid's going to push for it. He tries, but Udakan had that corner locked down. He wasn't letting anybody in. As I peer back, we're going to keep the camera here, but as I look back, Cratrim still in 4th, Slipstream in 5th. Fear the Fun is still in 6th position after making that move around Slipstream, but then falling back. Hocus in 7th, Wolf in 8th, Audrex is 9th, SGR Chaos Fox going to go ahead and get into the top 10, at least for now. He's got Slow Motion Fire and Joe Beardy right behind him, however. 13th is Enraged Barney, then it's Mortismo, Born as Ghost, Grim in 16th, 17th is Beer 98, then it's Fox Jason in 18th, Tam Ocello in 19th, Gumby Greg and Modern Weapon are 20 and 21. Unfortunately, the 22nd driver, whoever that might have been. Oh, actually, I was the 22nd driver on the grassy knoll. Never mind. That's what it was. So all 21 drivers who started are in the race. We'll see if maybe we can't get the other 2 grid spots filled up here for race number 2. If you're not racing here, you're hearing the sound of my voice, and you're not holding a controller or a wheel in hand and getting the F100 around the Daytona Sport Car circuit right now, then you too can be in the running for the championship here in season 34. How is that possible, Dustin? It's racing right now, and I'm not in there. Well, they take your top 4 weeks worth of points out of 5 weeks, and that's your championship point total. So even if you can't race or are not racing here tonight, you can join the folks of the Forza Spec Racing Series for week number 2 and they'll get you in there, and then you've got to run the next 4 weeks just solid, and you too will have a chance to become the next champion. There comes Udakan sliding it out, coming through turn number 4. That international corner, it hasn't been that big of a deal for him in the past. It seems that the bus stop has given them the most fits so far, and yet he goes ahead and burns rubber coming out of turn number 4, and that allows Martin and Corbett just that much more opportunity to catch up because they have fallen back by about a car and a half here to Udakan. Now side by side is Corbett and Martin as these two continue to exchange position. And now Udakan. Let's see here in the next lap and a half. He might just get it all sorted out. Iron out the wrinkles on the upcoming final lap, lap 15. He'll get the white flag from the flag stand next time by. Out of turn number 4. Corbin, Martin. Elbows out. Elbows out, ladies and gentlemen. They're not pulling them in, and as a result, Martin and Corbin get tangled up, and miraculously, what a save that was. Neither driver ending up in the wall or spun around on the infield. Well done, and now Martin establishes a bit of a lead. And here we go, conclusion of lap 14, beginning of 15. Final lap, race number 1 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 34 in the 1956 Ford F100. Here comes Martin. Corbett has been especially good here in turn number 1. Let's go take a look there at the Virtual Autosport rewind at that little incident, that little kerfuffle back there on turn 3 of the oval. And it looks like, yeah, Martin was just starting to run up high. Corbett had nowhere to go. Great save by both drivers, keeping it on the oval and not up into the wall or down in the grass. And now here they come for the final time through the infield parts of the sport car circuit, the short track here at Daytona. Stephanie Smith-Creative saying, wow, I just scared my dog reacting. Haha, exciting. It's always exciting. We've had some phenomenal seasons here in the Forza Spec Racing Series over the last several months. And these drivers continue to prove me wrong when I say that the season before was uber exciting, and just when I think it can't get any better, they come back at it. And this has been about as clean a start to a season as we've seen in a long time. And as soon as our lead drivers come across the line, we'll start to take a look at the action a little bit further back. But it looks like AMS Udakan is going to pick up right where he left off. Was the season number 33 champion, and now the winner in race number 1 of season 34. Martin is going to come in second, followed by Corbett. Then it's going to be Cratrim in 4th. Slipstream, should he hold on to it through 3 and 4, will finish 5th. And actually, let me not speak so soon because Fear the Fun is right there. So let's hang out with Fear the Fun, and come on, catch up, camera. You can do it. Fear the Fun, he's going to look to the outside. Slipstream's going to block the low line, and you better believe full defensive mode there for Slipstream. And across the line, it's just barely going to be Slipstream edging out Fear the Fun for 6th position. Hocus has got 7th, IPRA Wolf in 8th, Audrex in 9th. Let's go to Joe Beardy in 11th, who has Chaos Fox. They're in 10th position. It's a battle for the top 10, and just like that, oh, Joe Beardy about a car and a half back behind, and actually slow motion moved up there to 11th position. Enraged Barney coming across the line in 13th. Muertismo in 14th. Born as Ghost is 15th. Grim in 16th. Fox Jason is 18th or 17th, and 18th goes to Beer. 19th will be Tam Ocello. I keep wanting to say not just Tom, but Tom Morello. And that would be pretty exciting if we had Tom Morello racing out with us here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. No, Tam Ocello in 19th position. 20th is Gumby Greg and Modern Weapon, who we saw have all kinds of issues throughout tonight's race. Race number 1 finishes 21st. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and run a few ads. Don't worry, you're not going to miss a thing. Please hang tight. All the ad time that you spend watching those ads actually comes back to the channel, does support the broadcast, and it allows our viewers who are joining us a little bit later on to skip the pre-roll ads and get right into the action. So be a kind soul and just hang out for the next 3 minutes as those run. I'm going to go ahead and take score where everybody finished, and then we'll come back and see if any of our drivers want to jump into the driver spotlight. You're listening. No, you're not just listening. You're watching the Forza Spec Racing Series Season number 34, Week 1. It is the opener of Season 34. Race number 1 has concluded. Race number 2, qualifying. And the 17 laps? We'll take a look at the schedule when we get back. Coming up right after these ads. For those of you not getting any ads right now, either because you're a subscriber, thank you so much, or because your region just doesn't have any ads for you right now here on Twitch, thank you so much for watching here on a Tuesday evening, or maybe it's an early Wednesday morning for you. You're watching the Season number 34 opener of the Forza Spec Racing Series in the 1956 Ford F100s. AMS Uticon coming away with the win, followed by Martin and Corvid. Those are your top 3, the podium. Then it was Cratrium and Slip there for the top 5. Chaos Fox going to go ahead and round out the top 10 with a 10th place finish. Slow Motion Fire starts it out there in 11th, all the way down to Modern Weapon, who finished 21st of the 21 drivers who started. So all drivers remaining out on the track. That's what we like to see. If you'd like to participate here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, if you race season 34, week number 2 through week 5, you'll be in the running for the championship. All you got to do is complete each of those weeks, and you'll have a shot. Your championship point total is the top 4 weeks of 5 points, so you can miss week number 1 and be good. And welcome back to those of you who joined us here during the commercial break or been with us even before the commercial break. Virtual Autosports here live on Twitch TV with the Forza Spec Racing Series Season number 34 opener. And oh my gosh, let's see, Carryout is going on a gifting rampage here and is actually going to move up quite a bit here on the total gifted sub board. I think that's going to put him above SVR Brexit. So give Carryout the silver. Now, after all these subs come through, a total of 5, giving one to Big J Bishop, Cratrim, Chaos Fox, Genzinator, and Division Hunter. Thank you so much there, Carryout. And Carryout's going to go ahead and redeem himself 100 points for our pit point raffle. And that brings us to the graphic that you see there on the screen. Redeem those pit points. Yes, make them useful. We're finally putting them to use, and I don't know that many Twitch streamers actually do use them. So make use of them. Redeem 1,000 points here on the channel, and you could do so for every 1,000 that you earn, and we'll give you an entry into our June 2020 raffle that ends on June 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern for $100 of Steam digital cash. And we go back to our lobby here to see how everything's. So actually, we're not going to take a look at that because that doesn't tell the story the way that we need it to. So let me go ahead and back out of that. We'll get back into the lobby. We see pretty much all of our drivers getting readied up, so we may not have a lot of time for interviews, but let me quickly get in DOR Hocus. Hocus, you finish in, what is that, 7th position there behind Fear and in front of Wolf? You pretty happy with that?
It's my best finish yet, so I'm happy with that.
Best finish yet, and in the 1956 Ford F100, has the vehicle, the truck, been easy to acclimate to, or has it been a challenge?
No, it's a handful. It's back a couple of seasons ago. They did the Kazi, the Sierra Cosworth. Yep. It's a little bit squigglier than that one.
A little bit less traction than the Kazi there, the RS 500, I believe it was. Yes, talking with DOR Hocus here in the driver's spotlight as we get ready for qualifying in race number 2 of week 1. That'll be out at Long Beach. So going coast to coast. You go from the sport car circuit of Daytona, which is quite open. You've got a lot of room to run. Now we're heading into the claustrophobic city street of Long Beach. What are your worries, if any, about this upcoming race?
There's actually a spot at Long Beach on the long back stretch in the wall. If you hit it, it stops you dead. Mm-hmm. And that's always my complaint with this track. Other than that, qualifying is going to be a nightmare because I can't do a clean lap on this track for nothing.
Gotcha. And you talked about how this truck, a little bit less traction, a little bit more squiggly than maybe cars past. But that being said, all drivers are having to face the same that same fate. They all have the same tune, or not the same tune, the same vehicle setup to make it D400 here in Forza Motorsport 7. So with that being said, do you feel like you, now with your finish, a 7th place finish at Daytona, do you feel like maybe you're a bit more adjusted to the truck than other folks are, and will that give you an advantage here not only in race 2 but the rest of the season?
I don't know if I would say I'm more acclimated. I think I'm just getting lucky. And this truck is like super fast, but it handles sort of poorly, which is nice. It kind of makes up for it.
DOR Hocus being a little bit humble. It takes a bit more than just luck to come into the top 10 here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Did you win the pick the so Slow Motion Fire takes photos of the vehicle for each season, and all the drivers have a chance to guess at what that vehicle is. Did you happen to guess correctly, and is any one of these tracks of the 9 that we have here in season 34 your selection?
Yes, I did. I picked Brands Hatch and the pouring down thunderstorm rain.
So tell us about that. Not only did you pick Brands Hatch, which actually is not a bad pick, and it's the Grand Prix circuit, so it's not the shorter Indy circuit, but do you get a say in the precipitation, the weather there, or was that Slow Motion Fire's doing?
No, we get to say what track, the rain, like if you want it rain, you want it night, you want it however, yes.
And are you a sadist, or you just like to give us a little bit of entertainment here on Virtual Autosport? The pour down rain, that's going to make things exciting.
A little bit of entertainment, and anything that I can do to keep him from winning again, it's going to be awesome.
Okay. He's trying to do everything possible to keep AMS Udakan from running the table here in Season 34. I see folks are getting readied up, so I'll throw one more question out at you here. Qualifying, if we were to take a look at you during qualifying here, do you find that to be your strong suit, or do you really shine when it comes to the race when you are actually vying for position?
The race, definitely the race. I'm not really good at hot lapping, which is basically what qualifying is. And I much prefer to try to pass or try to be behind somebody or try to be in front of somebody and keep them behind me. Something like that. That's what interests me, the hot lapping qualifying session I'm terrible at.
Gotcha. Dior Hocus, great chatting with you. Best of luck qualifying out of
Thanks,
Long
sir.
Beach. All right, so
Thank
Dior Hocus is going to go ahead and join the other 21 drivers, the other 20 drivers out there on the track. I am the 22nd that is in the lobby, but I am just a spectator. So 21 cars out there. That means there are 2 other spots. There are 2 vacancies on the grid. And since I talked to some of our folks who didn't have ads, maybe because they're a subscriber or because they just didn't have any ads in the region, I mentioned that get in on the action here in week number 2, and you'll still be in the running for the championship. Everything you need to know is at that link that Nightbot just dropped into the chat, the Twitch chat, the pit lane as we call it, reddit.com/r/FM4. Go there and get yourself registered. Let Slow Motion Fire know who you are, what your gamer tag is, and then set your F100, your 1956 F100 up to the specifications that they have provided in that forum, that subreddit, and you can be racing with these guys and gals a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, week number 2 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. We get the go-ahead there from Slow Motion Fire that qualifying is about to commence. Before we turn the camera loose to the qualifying action, let's look ahead to week number 2 there. June 2nd, Maple Valley, the full circuit for 17 laps, and then another 17 out at Brands Hatch, that Grand Prix circuit, as we just mentioned there with Dior Hocus. He picked that track, and in the pouring rain. So drivers will have to contend with that. And then 2 weeks from tonight will be week number 3, and it starts with Spa and rain. So whoever selected Spa in the rain, we got 2 drivers. Dior Hocus, we know, is suspect. Not actually suspect. He's the actual culprit of the first rain event. We'll have to try to pin down who that second crazy person is that required rain out at Spa. That'll be a fun one. AMS Unicon now through the roundabout here at Long Beach as we see Grem. He's going to lead everybody around here for qualifying. 1 standing start lap, which is what they are on right now, followed by 2 flying laps. Try to set your best time. That way you can be a little bit further up in the grid, which is going to be instrumental at this track. There's not a lot of room for passing and just not a lot of inherent opportunity because this track does not lend itself very good to finding a way around another driver. Even if they are slower in front of you, you get through these bits where it just ties you up because you take the same racing line to remain competitive. You get off the racing line, you step off of that, and it's gonna force you to go slower. So, not a big-time passing track here at Long Beach. You're gonna have to take advantage of qualifying while you've got it here, and you got to be careful here too because that red line that you see off to the right, that is actually the line of demarcation for track limits, and it's very easy to come out of that left-hander, run it wide, and get a dirty lap. The slowest clean lap will always be faster than the fastest dirty lap. You get that dirty lap, you end at the back of the pack for the start of the race. Let's go to Modern Weapon here, and we'll go ahead and throw the stats into the bottom left corner beneath the map to see who's got the top time. Right now it's AMS, surprise, surprise, Unicon with a 139.174. Again, standing start, so we'll see if anybody else is able to make up the difference and perhaps put AMS Unicon a little bit further back on the grid, which, again, at this track, that could be the difference. That could be all it takes. Modern Weapon getting up onto the roundabout curbing and puts 2 wheels, the passenger side wheels, up into the air. Able to bring it back down, but I'm guessing that's going to be a dirty lap there for Modern Weapon. And somebody grabbed the tire wall, and Modern Weapon did the same. So Modern Weapon will try to line it up here for the beginning of lap number 3 and see if you can't get a quicker time. Let's go to Dior Hocus, who we just chatted with there in the driver's spotlight. Oh, and you love it. You have to love the livery there. The Coca-Cola F100. Well done. Can't say it enough that the guys and gals of the Forza Spec Racing Series not only do a phenomenal job at putting together some great racing entertainment for us and then also have to go through the rigor of setting up their vehicles before each season, but then find time to paint them up, make them look good, AMS Udakan being the exception at this point. He's he's opted just for a black paint job and the number board there on the front part of the bed. And here comes Hocus now into the right-hander. Then left, and then up to the hairpin, and we see there in the background somebody grabbing the tire wall through what I believe is turn 10 here at Long Beach, and Hocus is going to go ahead and scrape up onto the concrete barrier through the apex and back toward the line, and nobody's able to beat Udakan's time right now. That 136.116. There goes Hocus, currently with the 7th quickest time. Cratrim with the 6th. Fear the Fun with the 5th. Slipstream with the 4th. Martin with the 3rd. Corvid with the 2nd. And we'll see if that changes here as everybody crosses the line. We'll go back out into the lobby. We'll take a look at the times. And we'll see if there's maybe one other driver who wants to jump into that driver's spotlight before we get going for the 19 laps. I said 17 earlier as a guess, but it is 19 laps here at Long Beach. We went coast to coast here in North America, in the States, from Daytona, Florida to Long Beach, California. There's Grim up into the tire wall. That's the one that Hocus was telling us about, that you grab that one and it is a nightmare, and especially so once the race gets going here. You clip that and all of a sudden you become debris for everybody. And with simulation damage turned on, that's fun for no one. Again, carry out. Thank you so much for all those gifted subs to Fear the Fun, or Big J Bishop as we know him as, here on Twitch. Cratrim, Chaos Fox, Genzenator, and Division Hunter. Look at that. Martin with a 135.7. A 135.7 there on that third and final flying lap. Well, the second flying lap, the third lap of qualifying. Martin, good job. I think it may stick. Udakan saying, I threw my last lap away. So Udakan, and obviously that's very easy to do out here at Long Beach. One little mistake and you're going to clip that wall, and the Forza Motorsport 7 system is going to say, oh, lap invalidated. It does everything in its powers to make sure that you don't find an advantage somewhere. And yes, I know clipping the wall seems like hardly an advantage, but the game wants to remove all doubt. And then, of course, you've got a couple of places here at Long Beach where running a little bit wide does get you a dirty lap. All right, drivers, if you want to have a quick word, if there is a driver who wants to have a quick word before the race gets going, and then, of course, after the conclusion of race number 2 here tonight, we'll see if we can't get more of our drivers to chat with us and tell us about how their week 1 went. Take a look at the standings. And AMS Udakan with that 135, Audrex with the 137, Modern with the 140, Beer 144, 138 for Slow, 140 for Enraged Barney, and that's a dirty lap, so by default that'll move him or her a little bit further back of the pack at the rear of the grid. IPR Wolf with that 137.639, Grim at a 149, Slipstream at a 137, 142 for Jason. Corvid at a 136.107. Chaos Fox with a dirty 139. That's not good for Chaos Fox, who's going to have to try to make his way up through the field. Let's go ahead and go to our driver spotlight. Mortismo joining us here in the driver spotlight ahead of race number 2 in week 1 of Forza Spec Racing Series season number 34. And you got initiated into the Forza Spec Racing Series with a finish of, let me take a look here. Maybe somewhere in 14th position there in race 1?
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. But actually, I'm a returning veteran. Gumby Greg and I were part of Season 1 and Season 2, and then life got in the way, and we're back for Season 34.
I appreciate you correcting me, because I do remember Slow Motion Fire saying, yeah, we've got a lot of new names, but then we also have folks who are coming back from Forza Spec Racing Series' history long ago. So tell us.
Yeah, actually, Forza Motorsports 4.
Yeah, gosh, dating way back then, you know?
Yeah, right.
Very, very cool. What was it, one, that got you back into things? And then secondly, how have things changed here in the Spec Series that you're getting familiar with or acquainted to?
Well, Season 1 wasn't Spec at all. It was build to some weight requirements, but choose whatever car you want. So it was not as much of a level playing field as it is now. Although that being said, humble 14th finish certainly highlights how quick some of these guys are. I haven't been playing much. I haven't been racing much in front of my computer for a long time, and here we are all locked in. So I bought myself a steering wheel and thought I'd get back into it. So.
Wow, and doing this with the steering wheel, which for those of us who are very familiar with the esports world, the gaming world, in racing games, steering wheel can oftentimes be a little bit trickier to deal with because you have to do so much more movement versus a thumbstick. So, is it more just for the experience that you enjoy doing the wheel, or genuinely is that where you're best at? Is behind a wheel?
Well, I would say that I definitely feel like I'm better at being smooth when I'm behind the wheel. I never acquired a nice smooth left thumb steering. It never worked out. So steering wheel has been my preferred input for this. Although I know a lot of the guys, even the top guys in this group, they're all using controllers. So that's really surprising.
All right, so I don't want to get you eluding my question too much there because I mentioned what was it that made you come back? Of all the seasons you could have returned, and you picked the one where it's the 1956 Ford 100. Was it just so happened that this came back to memory that you had participated and you wanted to check it out again, or what was the catalyst for you?
Well, so I got my wheel I've been playing it for about 2 months, and it just happened to be perfect timing with end of season 33 and the beginning of season 34, where I could throw my hat into the ring and start getting used to driving again. So yeah, I've been a follower of the FM4 subreddit since the beginning when this started, and I've been following along. But I thought now was the time, since we're all stuck in, and I needed a new video game. I can't go out autocrossing either, so this is the right choice right
Curing the itch here in the new world that we live in. Talking here with Mortismo before we get ready for race number 2, and I know that is coming up here. All the drivers readied up. Just real quick, if you had any aspirations or goal that you're setting for your return here as a veteran who went into retirement, is now come back out of it, where do you want to finish when Week 5 is all said and done?
When Week 5 is, I'm going to be happy because I see the caliber of these drivers. I'll be happy to be in the top 10. Honestly,
go for top 10. All right.
Yeah, I'll accept lower than that because I'm here to have fun. But I feel like the competitive itch puts me wanting to finish top 10.
Awesome. Great aspirations. Always love hearing about drivers who are coming in with a bit of a goal. Thank you so much, Mortismo, for joining us here in the Driver's Spotlight. And I did want to throw them back there real quick because they're all readied up and getting the race underway as we look to put an end here to week number 1. I know it goes so quickly, but it's we have plenty more to look forward to. Another 4 weeks ahead, and we'll revisit that schedule. Oh, and we're going to hopefully revisit Frames here in a second. Come back to us, Frames. And there you see Martin and Cratrim are going to be on row number 1 with Udakan and Corvid on 2. Row 3 goes to Slipstream and Oddrex. Then it's IPR Wolf and Fear the Fun, who are in the top 8 on row number 4. Then it's Hocus and Slow Motion Fire rounding out the top 10. Joe Beardy, Mortismo, Modern Weapon, Jason Fox, or Fox Jason, then Beer. And you see all the rest of the folks there from 16th on back to 21st. If you're joining us for the first time here on Virtual Autosports, please click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster that I'm doing something right, and that way you get notifications every time we go live here on Twitch. We'll be live again a week from tonight with week number 2 action. On the grid, all of our drivers sit in their F100s, and leading them off the line is going to be Martin, who dictates the start of the race. Krejcim there in second, Udakan in third, Corbin in fourth as they charge down the bendy straightaway. It's a straightaway of sorts before heading into turn number 1 here, as Martin is going to have nice clean air and really nobody on his back bumper harassing him going into turn number 1. Same can't be said for everybody else as they come through. Let's go ahead and jump back real quick. Come on, Forza, work with me here. Modern Weapon in 12th position, and sure enough, even that far back, they're getting through, but the carousel, or the roundabout part here, looking a little bit more precarious, as we've got, is that Modern into the wall? I think it is. Modern Weapon into the wall coming out of the roundabout. Let's go to Gumpy Greg there in 17th position, see how he's faring. And it looks like a lot of our drivers maybe just having to hit the brakes, knowing that they had trouble out in front of them. Chaos Fox, who certainly wants to get back up into the top 10 after a P10 finish in race number 1, is way back there in 20th position. Back up to the front of the pack. Fear the Fun in 8th position as they head into that right-hander, that very scary right-hander, because you got that tire barrier off to your left-hand side. These drivers making it nice and clean through there and down the straightaway here into the turn of the right-hander, turn 10. Fear the Fun with Slipstream and Corvid on his inside. And wow, we're going to have a bunch of cars coming into the hairpin here. And fortunately for Martin, he's just got nobody bugging him right now. As we look back there in the background, everybody coming through, slow going. Then you got to hit the accelerator, but not too hard so as to spin the tires here on this 415 horsepower Ford F100 with the 6.2 liter V8 underneath the hood. D400 here in the world of Forza Motorsport 7. Whether you've got it for the Xbox One or the PC, you can race with these folks. Head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. Blue Sub says, so online community for this game still good? Lobby's full? Subs, it really depends. I mean, you can find community leagues that are alive and well. If you go into the lobbies, there might be, the public lobbies, there might be times where the racing is dead. Oh, and Corvid is off the track, or at least off the racing line. And now we've got a black screen here, and we're going to get back into it. I don't know if Corvid is now out of the race. He seems like the likely casualty. And yes, Corvid is gone. I don't know if he had a controller disconnect or what. Coming out of turn number 7. Unfortunate. Now here comes Fear the Fun with IPR Wolf and Slipstream. Yeah, but like I was saying, if you race in a community-based event or a league, yeah, I mean, you're going to have perfectly fine racing. It's going into multiplayer lobbies where it's a toss-up. It really is. And here they come through. Oh my gosh. Slipstream getting harassed here by not only Fear the Fun as he's going to slide him. And oh no, Fear the Fun there getting a little bit too much of the tailgate of Slipstream. And that's going to send him wide through the hairpin. And Slipstream now back out in 7th with Fear the Fun right in front of him. These two battled it out a race ago out there at Daytona in the Sport Car Short Circuit, where Slipstream was able to win out in front of Fear the Fun. And now here comes Slipstream to the inside of Fear the Fun up onto the curbing. And Slip has no choice but to slow down as he drives up quickly onto that wall heading into the roundabout with Fear the Fun occupying the driving line. And so Slow Motion Fire in 6th, Fear the Fun in 7th, Slipstream in 8th, Born as Ghost in 9th, at least for now. Let's go to our Virtual Autosport Rewind to see how the end of lap number 2 played out. And of course, a lot of action here for the beginning of lap number 3. We're going to continue to hang out here in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. We will jump back up to the front of the grid here in just a bit. Into that right-hander, that tricky, and Fear the Fun's going to run it wide up into the tire while he goes. That's going to give room here for Slipstream to run through the middle. 3 wide, down the back, straight away they come. Fear the Fun, Slipstream, and Wolf with Born as Ghost Slow Motion Fire, I said Wolf, but Wolf's a little bit further ahead in 5th. That's Born as Ghost and Slow Motion Fire that are the other 2 drivers here in the mix with Slip and Fear. And now Fear the Fun to the inside once again, continuing to harass Slipstream there. And pardon me as the replay is on its endless loop. I'll bring it back to the live action here underneath Toyota Bridge and across the start-finish line. Slipstream in 6th, Fear the Fun in 7th, Slow Motion Fire now back to 8th, and in 9th, Born as Ghost. IPR Wolf, you see up there ahead, is in 5th, all by himself on a racing island. In 4th is Drex, Cratrim in 3rd, Unicon up to 2nd position with Martin, who qualified in the pole position, out in front in 1st. Here comes Fear the Fun right up onto the back tailgate. There is no bumper, actually. They've gone with the bumper delete option here on the F100. And then threw a nice little spoiler there on the lip of the tailgate. And there goes up over the curbing is Slipstream, quite nearly flipping the F100, able to bring it down before careening off into the wall. And now out of turn number 7, they don't have to worry about track limits anymore, as Slip runs it a little bit wide now into the right-hander. He's got Fear the Fun just all over him. Let's go ahead and ride on board with Fear the Fun as he does a lap here at Long Beach while chasing down Slipstream. And Born as Ghost is actually going to go flying by. It appears as if Fear the Fun has just allowed Born as Ghost to scoot on past. Maybe Fear the Fun regaining his composure to make another run here at 6th, 7th, and 8th. I don't think he has any damage to the vehicle. He does not, so that's not the issue. Perhaps Fear the Fun rendering himself his own penalty for whatever reason. Let's go to 3rd position with Cratrim, who's got Unicon out in front of him. Martin is quite a ways away. Martin going underneath the roller coaster now and has emerged from beyond the bridge. Here comes Cratrim. And unfortunately, Corvid getting an early disconnect in this race. Corvid, who finished 3rd in race number 1 at Daytona, could have definitely used a solid finish here in race number 2. Now he's going to have to make it happen in the next 4 weeks. Cratrim out of the right-hander, underneath the bridge, past the tall skyscrapers here, Long Beach, California. And now without traffic around him, the vehicle looking so nice and tidy. Cratrim in the No Coast Brewing livery, which is usually worn by Slow Motion Fire. All right, 4th position is Audrex. IPR Wolf is in 5th. Slipstream in 6th. Slow Motion Fire in 7th. Let's go to Fear the Fun, who is still in 9th. And just like that, Fear the Fun is going to make a move on Born as Ghost. Born as Ghost punches the accelerator. Tire smoke coming out from the back of that F100. In probably a little bit infuriated in the fact that he wasn't able to hold on here. He was as far up as 6th position there, and now has rendered those positions back to 7th, or excuse me, back to Slow Motion Fire and Fear the Fun as they enter turn number 1. DWM Frog saying Slip sliding away. Yes. 415 horsepower, D400 class performance index here in Forza Motorsport 7. Blue Sub saying, cool, thank you. Cool channel, by the way. Thank you very much, Blue Subs, and I appreciate the follow. Great to have you here, and if you are interested in the Forza Spec Racing Series, that information there in the Twitch chat, reddit.com/r/FM4, and anybody who's watching us and is the least bit interested in maybe getting into some organized racing here in Forza Motorsport 7, a title that is almost 3 years old, as we anticipate, although we don't have confirmation, we anticipate the next Forza Motorsport experience, quote-unquote experience, as Chris Sasaki has titled it, we think is coming a little bit later on here in 2020 with the release of the Xbox One Series X. Here comes Fear the Fun now, who is punching his way up through the field, looking to grab 7th from Slow Motion Fire. He should be able to get it from Slow, and Slow going ahead and taking the high line, knowing that he's not going to be able to contest or compete here with Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun just a bit quicker in that Ford 100, and across the line, beginning of lap number 7. Let's go back to... Well, let's go to Chaos Fox, who isn't necessarily right on the heels of anybody right now. He does have up there in 11th position Enraged Barney. Enraged Barney, who finished 13th back there at Daytona, now in 11th. But Chaos Fox, who had to start at the back of the field with a dirty lap time during qualifying, has now moved up to 12th. And let's see if he can't get himself into the top 10 for the second time tonight in that Fast Fox racing car, a new or a recent member of Scrubs Go Racing, SGR. One of the two SGR drivers, Corvid being the other one here in the Forza Spec Racing Series season number 34. Mortismo now getting passed by Enraged Barney. So let's see if Chaos Fox can't make it a twofer here. Mortismo sliding it out of turn 7. Now up to 8. A very, very tricky number 8. And Chaos Fox, nice and clean, but so is Mortismo and Enraged Barney. This will be a great battle for P10. Chaos Fox, who's trying to go back-to-back P10 finishes. Enraged Barney, who's trying to get his first one here of season 34. Into the hairpin, back toward the start-finish line. Let's go to Born as Ghost in 9th position, challenging Slow Motion Fire for 8th, coming through the roundabout past the Bubba Gump Shrimp Factory. Born as Ghost now to the inside, and wow! Just muscling his way into that corner, and very ballsy to do that on the event organizer. Pardon my French. But gives the organizer a little shove out of the way, and up to 8th goes Bourne. And let's jump just a little bit further ahead to Slipstream, who's in 6th. He's got IPR Wolf there in 5th position. What a great night of racing we've had so far. We've got 4 more weeks of it. 7 total races. There's Beer in 18th position, one of the back markers. Kind of sliding away there, coming out of the hairpin. And Slipstream here in the next turn or two, gonna make a run at IPR Wolf. Taps the wall a little bit, coming out of 1. Then lines it up nicely, but comes in a little bit too far. Gets 2 wheels up in the air, and that'll lose you a bit of momentum, especially as you try to keep the vehicle. Oh, planted on 4 wheels, and we had somebody spin out on the exit of the roundabout, and I think that was Beer, the back marker. And I don't think he caught anybody up with that spin, fortunately. Maybe he parked it and allowed everybody to get by, which is always wise. Now into turn number 8. IPR Wolf well to the inside. What a horrible line that is. And that's going to allow Slip to close in on him. And with that momentum that Slip has, here they go, side by side, door to door, wheel to wheel, down the back straightaway here at Long Beach. Race number 2 of week 1, season 34 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Slipstream to the inside. He's going to make that move. And IPR Wolf, who's trying to keep from making contact, actually appears to have clipped the wall just a little bit, and now Slipstream will move ahead. Here comes Wolf to the inside, and poor old Slipstream can't buy a break in the hairpin. It was Fear the Fun who had previously given him that nudge, and now Slipstream gets it from Wolf. And now down the crooked straightaway here at Long Beach, up to turn number 1. IPR Wolf's going to move back up into 5th position, and we'll take a look at that entry into the hairpin there by 5th and 6th. Last lap through, I should say, and now here they go through the roundabout. Slipstream a lot more planted there than last time. They both tag the wall. IPR, and Fear the Fun does the same. Fear the Fun trying to get up there. Fear finished 6th in race number 1, out in front of Wolf on that last race. Oh, and DOR Hocus is DNF'd as well, who we talked to there in the driver's spotlight. And IPR Wolf taking that low entry line into turn 8, which gives Slipstream all the advantage. The most amount of speed and momentum coming out of that corner, and lines him up here for the apex through 9. And IPR Wolf, again, for the 2nd straight lap, taps that wall, which allows Slipstream to move up. Let's see what happens through the hairpin this time. And IPR Wolf goes ahead and doesn't bomb into the corner, but Slipstream runs wide coming out of not the horseshoe, but the hairpin, and tags the wall. That slows him up, and now IPR Wolf moves back up into 5th. And the more of back and forth jockeying for position these two do, the more they're going to allow Fear the Fun to come back into the picture. And Stephanie Smith Creative saying such a tough looking track it is. It definitely is. We've changed it up from race number 1, and there goes IPR Wolf bouncing off into the wall, into Slipstream's driver door panel, and they're going to be side by side. You would almost think this was some sort of demolition derby race with how many bumps and bruises these trucks have on them. But we knew it was going to be difficult to pass, and with that, that's what you get. And yes, it is a tricky track, very claustrophobic. Not a lot of corners where you can run too wide safely, and as a result, you get a lot of the contact like we're seeing here. Going back to that virtual autosport rewind, and we just missed the part there through the roundabout. My oh my, what a night, what a race. As I run through the field, you guys going to keep watching here. Slipstream and Fear the Fun. Martin in 1st, AMS Udakan in 2nd. So already Martin trying to put the kibosh on any attempt for Udakan to run the table and win all 9 races here in season 34, and perhaps make it that much more difficult for Udakan to go back-to-back season 33 and 34 champion. Cratrim in 3rd, Audrex is in 4th, Slipstream in 5th, and we're seeing this battle right now. Slipstream, Fear the Fun, 5th and 6th respectively. IPR Wolf has dropped back to 7th now. Born as Ghost is in 8th. Slow Motion Fire in 9th. Chaos Fox has broken back up into the top 10, and there goes Slipstream, getting those 2 wheels, this time the driver's side wheels, up into the air once again. He's been very, very fortunate to be able to bring that truck down safely. Oh, and there's Chaos Fox. Let me go back to... Let me actually go to Born as Ghost here in 8th position, who's behind Slipstream. Check that. Wolf in 7th. Slow Motion Fire behind him in 9th. And then, like I mentioned, Chaos Fox has gotten back up into the top 10 after finishing in 10th. There in race number 1. Enraged Barney is 11th. Muertismo in 12th. Joe Beardy in 13th. Modern Weapon is up into 14th. A good recovery for Modern Weapon, who had just a horrific run out there at Daytona. Grim is in 15th. Fox Jason in 16th. Then it's Beer, Tam Ocello, and Gumby Greg. 17, 18, and 19, with DOR Hocus and SGR Corvid getting DNF'd early on in this race. Down the back straightaway. Here comes Born as Ghost in 8th with IPR Wolf. Those two, the timing, they keep switching it up. IPR Wolf He runs wide coming out of the right-hander once again. We saw that. He did that with Fear the Fun earlier and replicates that. And now Slow Motion Fire and Born as Ghost get tangled up. Perhaps Slow Motion Fire saying, hey, you remember me? Born as Ghost giving Slow Motion Fire a little bit of a sucker punch a couple of laps back. Here they come, 7th, 8th, and 9th into turn number 1 on lap 13 of 19. Slow Motion Fire. Front bumper to tailgate because, again, the rear bumper delete was selected for this 1956 Ford F100. This is what they'll be racing all throughout season number 34 for 9 total races, all of it culminating in week number 5 with a 60-lapper out at Hockenheimring, the short track. Into turn 7. Slow, Bourne, and Wolf almost going 3 wide. Now this is going to get interesting here into turn number 8. IPR Wolf claims the front position here of this little 3-car train. And look at that. In 8th is Born as Ghost, giving Wolf a little bit of a push. I continue to watch out in front to see if there are any drivers competing for positions higher up in the field, but this is really our closest battle at mid-pack, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Just 19 cars left on the track. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me here on a Tuesday evening or a Wednesday morning, wherever you are in the world. Glad to be back to racing after several weeks of the Be a Better Photographer streams, which I do love. But I love commentating these races that much more. And a great start to season 34, and it'll only continue to play out. Storylines and points and all that. With week number 2 picking up a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll take a look at that schedule here after the broadcast of this race, and we'll talk about other things that are happening on Virtual Autosports, including how you can be in the running for that $100 Steam digital gift card that we'll be giving away on June 28th for our June 2020 raffle. Coming out of turn number 7, Born as Ghost now is up to 7th position after IPR Wolf relinquishing 2 spots. Slow Motion Fire into 8th. Great run here by Bourne and Slow. IPR Wolf trying to reclaim those 2 positions here with 6, make that 5.5 laps remaining. We've got a car exiting pit lane, which again on these shorter races, week 1 through 4, you don't want to have to make a pit stop. You shouldn't have to make a pit stop. Of course, this track makes that a lot more challenging. That's easier said than done in terms of avoiding a pit stop here at Long Beach. Let's go to 3rd position with Cratrium, who is reeling in AMS Udakan. Martin still has the lead right now and has done a great job as he is dealing with lap traffic. Well, he was dealing with lap traffic with Tam Ocello, and now it's Cratrium who's having to deal with Tam. And so let's go to AMS Udakan now, who is right there on the back bumper of Martin. Unfortunately, Martin's several second lead has been whittled down to mere tenths, hundredths, thousandths of a second. Out onto the front straightaway, end of lap 15, beginning of lap 16. What do you guys think? How's the beginning of week? Not only just week 1, but how's the beginning of season 34? Let me know your thoughts there in the chat. I definitely prefer a much more active Twitch chat. That way I can interact with you all. Get your thoughts. You guys weigh in on the racing action. Maybe you want to talk about the Forza franchise, whether it be Motorsport or Horizon or any other racing game, esports, things that are going on. Formula E driver who's been banned from the Formula E league because he allowed a gamer to race for him in one of the Formula E races. That was an interesting story, huh? Here comes Udakan. He's trying to save an opportunity to make this a season 34 sweep, which is going to be very, very difficult. But then also, which is a little bit more feasible, but not an easy feat in and of itself, but try to go back-to-back, season 33, season 34. AMS Udakan, who won season 33 in the Pontiac Solstice GXP, he picked these 1956 Ford F100s for season 34. That's one of the perks, one of the bennies that you get. Martin's going to run wide. It's going to allow Udakan to come up on the inside. Then Martin brings it toward the wall, almost gets sideways, and I think that had to slow Udakan down a little bit, which prevented him from making the pass. Let's go take a look at it at the Virtual Autosport Rewind. Ghibli Jib says, I'm liking this, especially these trucks. They make watching very visceral. I say that as we see Udakan's clown avatar inside. I mean, I guess a clown avatar could be visceral. And Martin's going to get side by side. Perhaps the pressure just too much for him to handle here, as the Solar Vision Racing team member now gives up first spot to Udakan, drops back to second, and now has 2.5 laps to try to make it back. But don't look too far back to find third place. Cratrim is there, waiting in the balance to see if he can't make a move. Into turn number 8. There goes Udakan underneath the bridge, as he leads the charge now of our podium drivers down the back straightaway. Oh, this could get spicy. This could get very spicy here on these last couple of laps. If Martin was behind an actual steering wheel, he'd probably be pounding it, but I'm guessing he's got a controller in hand, and so really all you can do is just hold on to the controller and keep the thumbsticks pointed in the right direction. And you don't want to get too infuriated right now. You've got 2 laps to try to make it up. Beginning of lap 18 starts now. The trucks are great. Commentating makes it much more exciting than I can imagine it being. Cool stuff. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I don't do well behind the controller myself, so I figured I'd find myself a place behind the microphone. Here comes AMS Udakan. He's got lap traffic all out in front of him, and that's Grimm in 16th position. And then you see Joe Beardy and Beer up ahead of him, so this is not going to be easy for any of our podium drivers. There goes Grimm getting steered around, and Cratrim just avoids collision with Grimm, able to escape it and keeps it on the straightaway here underneath the roller coaster. Now Joe Beardy and Beer are the next drivers, and these lead lap car drivers are probably saying, get out of the way, man, let us through. Past the tire wall, not ball, but tire wall, and Beer is going to get nosedive, or he's going to nosedive into it, and probably had a little bit of help there. He might have been running a little bit too hot into turn number 8, where he should have been off the throttle, and as a result, the lead lap cars picked the apex, and he just grabs himself a face full of rubber. Here comes Udakan now, and they've got one other one here. That's going to be, it is going to be Joe Beardy, I believe, who's up ahead. Here comes Martin. And in third, Cratrim. Corvid was up here in the mix of the top 3, but very early on in this race, 2 or 3 laps in, disconnected or quit. It looked like maybe he lost connection with his controller or something. And now the white flag flies. AMS Udakan leads them into turn number 1 for only the second time in this race. It was Martin who was out in front for the majority of this one, and now Martin about 2.5, 3 car lengths back, and at risk of losing second to Cratrium. As we see what happened to them last time through this section, well, they go through the roundabout first. Here comes Uticon. Joe Beardy's going to take the outside line. And there's Martin with Cratrium right on his heels. But you see here on the replay, Cratrium in the background is just going to get out of the way of Grimm, who gets spun around. And now here we go, down the back straightaway. Let's actually put the camera on Cratrium here. Third position. He's looking as they line up for turn number 9. And Cratrium's going to drift it through just a little bit there. That No Coast Brewing F100 now into the left-hander, into the right-hander hairpin for the final time before the checkered flag. It's going to be AMS Uticon who grabs the lead in the final 2 laps. SVR Martin in second, Cratrium in third. Drex is going to grab fourth so long as he doesn't have anything happen to him here on this final last few corners. Slipstream is there in fifth. Let's go to seventh with Born as Ghost. He's behind Fear the Fun as they come through turn number 8. Fear the Fun up to sixth. That's where he finished in race number 1 at Daytona. And look at this. These two have been going at each other. Fear the Fun. Well, I shouldn't say these two have been going at each other. It's been Fear the Fun and Slipstream. But now look at that. Born as Ghost makes the pass around Fear as Fear ran wide out of the right-hander. And actually, Fear is at risk of giving it up to Slow Motion Fire, too. He will not. Born as Ghost is going to get sixth. Let's see. Can Slow hold on to it, or can Slow move up? He does not. Fear the Fun puts the blocking maneuver. Fear grabs 7th, Slow in 8th. 9th is going to be IPR Wolf. Chaos Fox in 10th. Enraged Barney in 11th. Muetismo in 12th. Joe Beardy is 13th. Modern Weapon 14th. Fox Jason 15th. Then it's Grimm, Tam Ocello, Gumby Greg, and Beer 16, 17, 18, and 19. Unfortunately, once again, Duar Hocus and Corvid getting disconnected early on in this race. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to grab myself a breath after that one. After the conclusion of that race, I'm going to go ahead and make note of where everybody finished. I'm going to run some ads. We'll come back. We'll talk to some of our drivers. We'll preview what's ahead here on the channel for Virtual Autosports. And then we'll also be talking again about that $100 Steam digital card giveaway that will be raffled off on June 28th, and the way that you can be entered starts tonight. So don't miss those details coming up right after this commercial break. I'm Dustin Moore. This is Virtual Autosports live on Twitch TV with the Season 34 kickoff. Well, it's actually now been concluded. We're heading into week number 2 here of Season 34 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. For those of you not receiving ads, thank you for your patronage, either through a subscription or if you just don't happen to have any ads in your region, at least hanging tight as we close things up here on week number 1. There's a look at the schedule with the Daytona Short and Long Beach now in our rearview mirror. Maple Valley and Brands Hatch coming up a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And yes, you do see the raindrops next to Brands Hatch. It'll be a soggy one, thanks to DOR Hocus's pick. Born as Ghost saying, great commentary as always. Virtual Autosport, that was fun. It was fun. It most certainly was. And if you haven't already, please click that follow button. That way you can return here to Virtual Autosports, which is a good thing, right? I mean, if you're not having fun, I would guess that you would have departed by now. So if you've stuck around this long, you might as well commit. And again, thanks to Blue Subs, King Dragon. We had a few other follows here. Nate Dogg Studios, Enraged Barney, Axel's Dad, Stephanie Smith Creative. Thank you so much. Welcome back for those of you who were withstanding or withholding or dealing with the ads. Thank you for doing that. That's very kind. It helps support the broadcast. So appreciate you hanging tight through those. And we are now done with week number 1. Daytona and Long Beach in our rearview mirror. Yes, we covered all sides of the U.S. here with Daytona, Florida, and Long Beach, California. Next week, we head out to the fictional track of Canada's Maple Valley Full Circuit, 17 laps, and then an equal number of laps out at Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit, with quite a bit of rain. It's going to be a very soggy one out there at Brands Hatch. That'll be followed up 2 weeks from tonight with Spa. More rain at that full track in 10 laps. Sonoma Short for 21. And then on June 16th, we've got Watkins Glen Full for 14. Homestead Speedway. That's the oval. Yes, we're going to be doing oval racing in these Ford F100s. 44 laps there, race number 8. And then it all comes to a head. Race number 9 on June 23rd out at Hockenheim Ring, the short track, for 60 laps, which usually necessitates some pit stop work, strategy, all that fun. With the conclusion of race number 2, AMS Udakan, surprisingly, because Martin looked to have had it in the bag there, but you can just never count your chickens before they hatch, or the eggs, or the chickens. Here in Forza Motorsport 7 or in any racing environment, AMS Udakan gets back-to-back wins here in week number 1, picking right back up where he left off there in season number 33. Then it was Cratrium following Martin, so 3rd and 2nd respectively. Audrex in 4th, Slipstream in 5th. And it was Bourne, Fear the Fun, Slow Motion Fire, Wolf, Chaos Fox getting his 2nd top 10 time, or actually 2nd P10 finish here tonight. Enraged Barney finished 11th, Mortismo in 12th. Then it was Joe Beardy, Modern Weapon, Chaos Fox, who just couldn't make the run up through the field. Joe Beardy, Modern Weapon, then Chaos Fox, then Grim, Tam Ocello, Gumby, Greg, Beer, and a couple of DNFs there by Hocus and Corvid. Let me go ahead over to Fear the Fun. And Fear the Fun, I said that AMS Udakan's picking up right where he left off, but man, you're on quite a hot streak over the last 10 races or so. You've been on fire, man.
I've been trying, man. If I'm being honest, those 5, 6, 7 laps, I had damage, and then I accrued more damage, and that's the only reason why I'm not in front of Boner right now.
Yeah,
I smacked the wall 3 times.
You got into it with Slip a couple of times, and I think a couple of times at the hairpin, and then it looked like I think it was IPR Wolf that maybe you had to deal with there for a little bit as well. So as expected out here at Long Beach, it was going to be kind of a very pinball effect type race. But man, you had your work cut out for you.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I took a few liberties. It was my fault, but I'm just trying to go fast, man. That's all I want to do.
Own it.
I want to go as far as forward and as fast as I can.
Yeah. owning up to it where you got to hold yourself accountable. I know we appreciate that. I know Slow Motion Fire appreciates that. Let's see. 7th place finish here at Long Beach. That's after a 6th place finish back behind Slipstream out at Daytona. So a really good start. Now, next week is when it gets interesting. We go out to Maple Valley, the one and only fictional track here on the schedule for season 34, but then also rain out at Brands Hatch GP. For somebody as competitive as you are and who wants to keep competitive, what work do you got to put in? What preparation do you have to put in to be ready for the fictional track and then the rainy Brands Hatch track?
Well, I like Maple Valley. That's not a problem.
Okay.
I do not like Brands Hatch. It's like that's my Achilles heel, even in the dry.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm expecting a half decent finish at Maple Valley. I'm expecting to come dead last at Brands Hatch.
Not a fan of Brands Hatch, and then, of course, when you throw Mother Nature into it, it makes it all that much more difficult. Talking with Fear the Fun, or Big J Bishop, as we know him here in our Twitch chat. Fear, I ask you every time, and I continue to ask you, and I'm going to take a guess here before I even let you answer, but you've got to be eyeing top 5 here overall on the leaderboard in season 34. I think you're definitely good for it.
Eyeing's one thing, getting that's a whole different.
Yeah.
Especially since me and Slip seem to be so close, it's going to be a hard one. Especially if somebody else comes in who's faster than me, it's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you make of? You speak about drivers who come in who are faster than you, maybe guys that you haven't raced with before. At least this point of season 34 here in week number 1, none of the newer names on the roster have breached the top 10. But
Markston did.
Who's that?
Martin Markston.
SVR Martin. Yeah, and I couldn't remember if Martin had raced with. I feel like Martin had raced with us before, but maybe not.
Not that I remember.
Okay.
But we've had a bunch of SVR people.
Yeah, so yeah, it's true. I could be getting confused with all the different SVR folks that are out there. So for the majority, with the exception of Martin, the bulk of the new names haven't breached the top 10, but as we know here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, that could change from week to week. So you really got to be on your toes from one race to the next.
Well, we encourage any and everybody to come join our league.
Yep.
There's no skill gap requirement. There is a little bit like just try to not take liberties, but be clean or be as clean as possible. And if you take somebody out or whatnot, apologize. Just that's all we encourage. We encourage fast, good, clean racing, and you don't have to be an expert. I mean, you can be as bad as Grim or as good as Huracan. And yes, I am throwing shade at Grim. Always throw shade.
There you go.
And I like the truck. I built the truck, so of course I'm gonna like it. But no, it's gonna be a fun season, I think.
I mean, if week 1 is any indication, it will certainly be a fun one. Chatting with here in the driver's spotlight, Fear the Fun, as we close out week number 1. Any adjustments that you're going to make to the vehicle? I know there's, like you said, you helped build the truck. You've gone through the off-season preparation and practices that have been going on. But now, after actually in the thick of, I would say, competition. I mean, obviously you could have competition during practice, but it's even more so here during the season. Any finite adjustments or maybe big adjustments that you got to make to the truck?
I'd like to find a little bit more rear grip and a little bit more tune. But other than that, I really like my tune as it sits. It's very balanced, easy-ish to drive. And I would just like to say, I accidentally wrecked Beer, who was a lap car coming out of the garden, the fountain garden thing on, whatchamacallit. And that was my bad. I just wasn't expecting how slow he was going to be coming out of it, and I'd like to take responsibility for that.
There you go. Yeah, we like that. Like Fear the Fun said, really the the backbone of the league, like what keeps it standing upright and keeps this the integrity of this league intact, is that if you did make a mistake and you know that it's not necessarily in your nature as a driver or as a competitor, coming in after the fact, either here on the broadcast or over in the Discord channel there for FM4, and saying, hey, I apologize, my bad. Fear the Fun, any last comments here before we head on over to Chaos Fox?
Hope to see more people come join our season. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, definitely. And there is no reason why they couldn't have a full grid here tonight. More than 25 drivers registered here in season number 34 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. So take advantage of that if you're a viewer right now and say, hey, you know what? I can commit to it. If some of the other people who registered aren't out there, then I can certainly do it and come out here for week number 2, and you'll still be in the running for the championship. You'll have to overcome the odds because you'll have to do exceptionally well in weeks 2 through 5, but it is possible. Speaking of a driver who did well but did so here in week number 1, you got 2 P10 finishes, both out at Daytona, the short sport car circuit, and out here at the very claustrophobic Long Beach. Chaos Fox, you satisfied, or were there a couple other positions that maybe you gave up in those races?
Honestly, all things considered, the little mishaps I had in both races, I'm happy with 10th place in both. The beginning of Daytona was strong. I was up to like 6th at one point, and I don't know what it is. Anytime I get near Audrex, our cars are like 2 magnets, and I'm the one who usually gets the short end of the stick. But I was able to claw my way back up. Audrex definitely did have a much better pace than me, but considering how far back I fell, and I had a pretty good fight with the slow motion, I'm happy with 10th in Daytona. Long Beach was absolutely hectic.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of commotion I got caught up in, and again, the fact that I clawed my way up to 10th, I'm happy. I'm content.
Yeah, you definitely had to push your way up there, and yes, it was hectic. 21 cars at the start of the race, 2 of them falling out early on in the event, but lots of traffic, lots of newer names, some folks who are returning to the series after a long departure. Do you think maybe after we've stepped out of week 1, folks will get a little bit more comfortable, or do you kind of have to say, all right, now I know what the dynamic of our season of the assortment of drivers that we have is. I gotta take into week number 2 maybe a better setup, get better in terms of the qualifying. That way I can be further up in the grid and avoid some of that chaos toward the back.
Yeah, definitely the chaos in the beginning is what I got to watch out for, and I think everybody's going to be watching out for it. That starts further back. I think if I play my cards right, because I got my truck pretty good. The truck feels good for me. I have a good oval tune for it. Shout out to Corvid for that. And overall, I put a decent amount of time into this truck. It feels good. I'm comfortable with it. It's just, I think what's going to make or break my races from now on is just the beginning. It's just, I gotta keep the nose clean on the truck, make sure I don't get caught up in anything, and when the field spreads out, that's where I can move my way up. That's really the pattern I was falling into in these 2 races. It's just once everything thinned out, and I could hit my marks, hit the turns at the way I like, and not worry about any kind of slower car in front of me. That's definitely the flow I'm falling into with these races. A lot easier than the previous cars we've been using.
Interesting. Yeah, and it's not going to get any easier as far as the commotion and all the hecticness of the traffic, because as we take a look at the schedule, really the only 2 that stand out to me, Maple Valley and Homestead being an oval, so we know what that means for not just only turn 1, but then 2, 3, and 4. But then Maple Valley has a nice wide swooping right-hander for turn number 1. It's Brand Hatch there at Paddock Bend, Spa turn number 1, Sonoma the short track as you head uphill, Watkins Glen into turn number 1, and Hockenheimring turn number 1, where it's a pinch. It really is. So it's not going to get any easier. Chatting with Chaos Fox here in the driver's spotlight. I mean, not only talking about the commotion around you and having to work your way up through the field whenever qualifying doesn't go right, but man, the competition there from Slip, Born, Fear, Slow, Wolf on back to you there in 10th coming out of Long Beach. But not only just that race, but a lot of the races even before this season began, that you guys are like, you're a grouping that is consistently around each other. So not only are you learning more about them, they're learning more about you, and you guys are putting up some big time fights here throughout these races.
Oh, definitely. It's an absolute blast racing with these guys. I want to say Slow is very equal to like my driving style, and whenever we're fighting for position, it's always exciting. I really, really enjoy racing with him.
And as we let you go here, I just want to ask, and I think I see maybe Corvid talking about it there in the Discord, but I just haven't seen it yet. Obviously, you're being a new member here of the SGR crew. What happened there to Corvid that you're aware of, if anything?
From what I heard, just some personal things came up, and he had to step away.
Gotcha.
That's about all I know. So
okay,
I think yeah.
Alrighty. Well, any parting words, any shout-outs here for you before we close up tonight?
Big shout-out to my buddy Andy, a.k.a. Fox Jason, who this is his first league event ever.
Nice.
And he finished pretty good. We're running identical cars. He wanted to run as a team with me. And all things considered, he's been playing for about 3 months, and his only racing game before this was Mario Kart.
Wow.
So the fact that he's doing as good as he is, I'm super proud of him.
Yeah, that's great, and kudos to him for making the jump. I know, especially for somebody who has no experience apart from maybe Mario Kart, that can be quite intimidating to make that leap into an organized event like this. But as we've said time and time again, it doesn't matter your skill level. Get in here as long as you race clean. That's all we're asking for. SGR Fox, great work here with 2 top 10, or actually P10 finishes, and we'll see if you can get a little bit higher up in the top 10 next week.
All right, then. See you then.
All right, and now we'll go to Born as Ghost, who's jumped into the driver's spotlight. Born as Ghost. Man, you, as I was mentioning there with Chaos Fox, you guys from 5th on back to 6th, it was just a barn burner the entire time. You got the better of it, except with the exception of Slip, who finished there in 5th, but you finishing out there in 6th in front of Fear, Slow, Wolf, and Chaos. I'm guessing you're pretty happy with that finish.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Going back and forth with those guys, it got a little weird there. Unfortunately, Fear had some damage, so I was able to get by him. So it's not as gratifying, but it was still pretty fun going at it. It still took 2 or 3 laps to actually get by him, so he made it a good time. Yeah,
we did see there coming out of turn number 8, that right-hander onto the back straightaway. It appeared he kind of waved you on past, and then that was that. Even some of those corners heading into like the hairpin, I think you got caught up in one of those. But really, there was no room to make moves, so drivers kind of had to make room to make passes. And I think that included you as well. So you can't really fault anybody for bumping door panels and rocker panels here. That was just kind of the nature of Long Beach, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think Fear got me in the hairpin, and I was frustrated at first and actually put it in reverse on accident.
Oh, okay.
And then I think I got Slow on one corner on accident, but it was kind of the way that it played out. But, yeah, there was nowhere to make a move there. You kind of had to stick your nose in there and hope for the best.
And I usually do this to one driver every time here as the beginning of the season kicks off. If you were to describe the F100, its current upgrade package and all that with one word and one word only, what would you use to describe the truck?
Oh, man. I go with ballistic.
Ballistic.
That would be a good one. It's slippery when you don't want it to be, and it's fast when you don't expect it to be. But if you make a mistake, it'll penalize you. So
If you can,
that's the best way I can describe it.
yeah, and if you could recall, AMS Uticon, who won season 33, picked this vehicle. Once it was announced that this was the vehicle, can you recall what your reaction was whenever you heard it?
I was definitely surprised because in the final race of the season, he was like, it definitely won't be American. When we were like mid-race, someone was like talking to him about it, and he was like, well, it won't be American. So when we were trying to do the teaser images, I was totally ruled out all the Fords.
Yeah.
It made the search very difficult. I was definitely shocked. I've never raced a pickup truck before. That's for sure.
He definitely threw you all for a loop and lied on that one. It's probably one of the more American vehicles that is in Forza Motorsport 7.
Oh, yeah. It's about as American as you can get. And it's a boat, no doubt, but it's fun.
Yeah. Again, chat with Born as Ghost here in the driver's spotlight at the conclusion of week number 1. Great racing here tonight. Audrex was able to creep up into the top 5, actually nabbed 4th, and kind of was the dark horse in this race. But do you see yourself racing alongside the likes of Audrex, Slip, Fear, Slow, Wolf, and Chaos for the remainder of the season?
That's definitely the hope.
Yeah.
It just seems if you can stay consistent, I think like Corbett was saying earlier, if you make a mistake with this truck, it penalizes you for about a lap or two. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it straight. But that's the hope. I mean, if I can stick with them, then things are going pretty well. So.
Very good. Very good. Well, Born as Ghost, congratulations here this evening. Not necessarily the finish that you were looking for out there at Daytona, but then corrected it out here at Long Beach, and we'll see if maybe this is your drop week out of the 5 weeks of racing. Best of luck, and we'll see you in week 2.
Thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
You bet. And that's it. That's all the drivers in our driver's spotlight. Since we've got a lot of you hanging out here, and I think maybe for a particular reason, yes, we have the Virtual Autosports June 2020 Pit Points Raffle. That starts here tonight on through June 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern. At 1 p.m. Eastern, we will block all the entries, and you'll no longer be able to enter the raffle. But it's quite easy. It's pretty straightforward. Is at Twitch, they introduced channel points about, half a year ago or so. And these points are earned by just watching the broadcast and performing a number of other activities, including, I think, being engaged and being an active viewer as opposed to a passive viewer. And so if you are interested in having a chance at winning the $100 Steam digital gift card, that'll be given away on June 28th, then start redeeming your points. Every 1,000 points that you redeem earns you 1 entry into the raffle. And sure, maybe you only have 1 or 2 entries, but all it takes is 1 or 2. Well, all it takes is 1 to actually win the dang thing. So even if other folks are racking up the entries, if you get at least 1 or a few in there, then you're in the running. You have a shot. And this is all made possible thanks to the donors, the subscriptions, either through Twitch Prime or the monetary subscriptions. It's all made possible through those. We had such a great month of April that I'm able to put an incentive together for you all to continue to watch the broadcast. And yes, the longer that you watch through each of the broadcasts, which happen about 3 times a week, the more points you'll accrue and the more chances you'll have to accumulate 1,000 to redeem. And SGR Chaos Fox and Born as Ghost, they're doing it. So just look down below. You'll see that little wrench if you're on a desktop. And I'm trying to think if you can do it on mobile. You may have to run to a desktop after the fact. But just come back to the channel, and even if we're not live, and redeem those points. You'll see that there's the 1,000, and it says something to the effect of redeem for an entry. Redeem a raffle entry or something like that. Receive a raffle entry is what it's called. Click on that, and it'll take 1,000 points away, and you'll be good. You'll have an entry. And we've got all the information, more info about the raffle and how it all works over on the Virtual Autosports Discord. So go ahead and click on that link that Nightbot has just dropped in there. And then you can also click on the link down below. You'll see there's an info panel that says pit points with the little wrench icon, and it's got some more details down below that, which also includes a link to Twitch's official article about how to accrue pit points. So it's not just a matter of watching. There are other ways to do it. And so if you wish to be more involved than just watching passively, then you'll pick up some extra points. Just that easy. It's a way for me to, one, make use of them, because for a lot of channels, they just kind of sit there, right? You can use the general default incentives that Twitch provides as far as unlocking an emote, modifying an emote, and all that. But wanted to make extra use of them and incentivize those of you who put in the time of watching the broadcast the 3 times a week or however many times you are able to commit to it. It does not count any time that you spend watching the VOD, so just know that it's only for time that is live. Slow Motion Fire saying thanks for all that you do. Slow Motion Fire, hey, without you guys, I wouldn't have this to do. So my thanks are to you all for making it happen, and for as long as you guys have been doing it. Again, one of the longer running community leagues that you're going to find in the Forza Motorsport community. So if you're on the fence about joining one of these organized events and you want kind of a beer league type atmosphere, Forza Spec Racing Series, this is the league to do it. And you could still get in on the fun in week number 2 and be in the running for the championship. Get on over there to reddit.com/r/FM4. Get registered with Slow Motion Fire. Let him know who you are, what your gamer tag is. He'll get you registered. And come week number 2, if they have a couple of grid spots open like they did last week, then jump on in there and get to racing. And again, week 2 to week 5, as long as you're there, you're still in the running for the championship, taking the top 4 weeks of your 5, and that'll be your championship points total. All right, what else do we have coming up? Well, I'm telling you that you got pit points that you can earn so that you can spend them for raffle entries, but where can you earn more of them? Well, we've got Forza Friday that's coming up this Friday at 5 p.m. Make that 6 p.m. Eastern time. 5 p.m. Central is where I was going. 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing some Forza Friday stuff. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do yet because the legendary lap stuff from the Forza Racing Championship has come to an end, and we will be back at it with another Forza Friday Night Fights on June 26th. So exactly a month from today, we will have our second ever Forza Friday Night Fights. If you're not sure what that is, you can watch back the first ever one in our past broadcast section here at twitch.tv/virtual autosports. It was between SVR Salty Boncos and SGR Corvid. Both drivers doing a phenomenal job, but it was SVR Salty Boncos who won out the viewer choice. We do plan to go into this second Forza Friday Night Fights with an actual panel of judges like was originally intended, but now this time hopefully able to execute that and get the judges deciding. And actually, we're looking to book 2 events on June 28th. One will be a 4-round kind of opening act, and then the 8-round main event. And we're very close to booking, if not already having booked the main event, and then we'll get that opening act booked and we'll get those announced, and that way you guys can plan to be here on June 26th, racking up more pit points, and then it'll all conclude there on June 28th with 30-50. But we do have another 30-50 event coming up on Sunday, and the poll for that is available over on my Twitter account. So if you want to select what division will be run in Sunday's 30-50 event, whether it be the major micros, I think is what it's called, or the sport compact icons. Those are the 2 divisions that you have to choose from. I believe it's major micros that is leading that poll vote right now. Head on over to my Twitter account at VRTL Autosports, that link that Nightbot just dropped in there, and scroll on down to the poll. You'll find it. Vote, cast your vote, whether you're a racer or a viewer, it doesn't matter. You're able to have a say, and then on Sunday we'll be back here for 30-50, where you don't have to do any preparation whatsoever. You show up, you get your car off of a game show style board, and you race. Well, first you do some qualifying or tuning and testing and qualifying. That's the 30 part of 30-50. For 30 minutes, you'll do that. And that's all ahead of a 50-mile race in that vehicle that you selected. If you want more information on that, it's all over there on the Virtual Autosport Discord. I have a full Q&A or FAQ for you to pour through and get all the details. It's pretty streamlined. Once you see it on paper or on digital print, you can pretty easily make out what it is. We give you a game show style board here on the screen. You pick a number. Behind that number is the car that you'll drive. It's very, very unique. I've not seen anything else like it here in the Forza community. But yes, our next broadcast this Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Forza Friday with D Moore and the crew. I'll figure out what we're doing. I'll get it all sorted out. And then Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern for 3050. If you all get any more Forza racing action in or any virtual racing action in through any of the communities that there are here in the esports world, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Until next time, we'll see ya. Have a great one. Take care. Have an awesome week. Peace.